And you see, they think BLM is a hate group. Oh, but it isn't. They're just projecting their own racism onto something so they have an enemy. Oh, God. Oh, seriously, this isn't even funny now. Like, about 5 minutes before we recorded, I checked Facebook and I see someone I'm related to repost a meme that says, I have black friends, but I do not support BLM. I have white friends, but I do not support the KKK. Why must we... And at that point, I stopped reading, and I was like, oh my God, you equate Black Lives Matter to the Ku Klux Klan. What is wrong with people?
These two things are not the same.
Oh my God, like, what the bloody... And this individual in question is a big fan of superhero stories. And I'm like,
Did you miss something?
Did you, like, never pick up on any of the morality or the morals or the inherent goodness and desire to be better in these stories? The fuck? Welcome back to the Big Damn Cast, a podcast that used to be about pop culture and is now about calling out racist arseholes.
It's just now anger.
I'm Chris. I don't sleep properly anymore, Johnson.
I'm Matthew. What is sleep, Watson?
See, we haven't slept properly for several months now, not because of an inherited stress that is fueled by our subconscious mulling over things we learn about real life and the day-to-day inner workings and thoughts of individuals during turbulent times and witnessing inherent acts of grotesque selfishness within an environment where a simple task of wearing some cloth over your face could help save lives and prevent deaths. The reason we've not slept properly in months is because we haven't been spooning for months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The isolation's really taking its toll.
It was my turn to be Big Spoon as well. I was looking forward to it. How are you feeling, beautiful boy? You've had a bastard of a couple of weeks.
I'm so tired. Not because I've been doing anything, just because I've not been sleeping. But I'm COVID free, thankfully. Me and Keith were feeling a bit under the weather, so we took a COVID test, as we mentioned last week, and that came back clean over the weekend. So we're both good. We're just both exhausted.
Yep.
Yep.
Sounds about right.
How about you, Christopher? How's it going?
I'm okay. I'm in sort of quite a fortunate week this week because I'm going back into minor spoiler alert for a thing that only a few people will hear about now ahead of when it comes out. I'm going back into production on Out of the Broom Cupboard, the sister podcast, I guess, of Big Damn, about TV production. Not in the way I originally intended the show to continue, but having to adopt, and see what happens.
Listen, things are a bit all over the place. It's all right,
and they ain't going back to normal anytime soon. So for me to continue that show, I need to change a couple things, and there will be news in the coming days.
Adaptations must be made.
Yes, so that's happening. But it's a bit of a stressy one overall. I'm feeling kind of miserable, world weary, and whatnot.
But I know that feeling.
Partially because next month we were meant to go away for 3 weeks to America to celebrate our second anniversary. And we called that off back in late April. And we are going away for a week to Whitby. So we're going to a cottage with my dad and stepmom. We're going to a cottage and we're going to stay in that cottage and travel into Whitby during the day for a few hours a day. And mostly go on walks and this, that, and the other, just so we can go away, but not like be in a heavily populated area. And then
wear masks and that.
Yeah, you're masking it up all the goddamn time. I'm collecting all the homemade ones I've got, getting them washed ahead of time, designating which day I'm wearing which one.
Smart.
Gonna go for a week and then come back and then spend like 2 weeks mostly isolating. Like once we get back, just in case, because you'd ever bleeding know. And even if we are only going a few hours down the road, we'd rather be safe than sorry. So Lou's got that week off work and the week and a bit after we get back off work. Obviously, she'll stay off a bit longer if we suspect anything.
Yes.
and it means that she also had another week and a bit to play with. So she's home this week. So, like, every time I'm feeling a bit low, I'm just walking into the next room and giving Lou a cuddle, and then going, right, back to planning, and then going back in the other room. So that's nice. That's, like, a nice thing. That's keeping me sane. But do you know what else was nice?
What?
Segue. Do you know what else was actually kind of like, all right, do you know what? I got something out of this.
Well, I made pasta pomodoro a couple of nights ago, and that was tasty.
Wait, what?
Well, wait, what were you talking about?
Oh, I was talking about DC FANDOME.
Oh, right. Oh,
yeah,
okay. I just thought we were doing a thing about nice dinners we've had recently.
I mean, I've had some nice. I'm not gonna lie.
I thought
we had some Linda McCartney vegetarian meatballs in our spaghetti bolognese last night, and I have not found a vegetarian meatball that hasn't tasted like a school pencil rubber.
Well, yeah, because that's what you make them out of, Chris.
Yeah, just like eraser heads, just like stick
it's well
in.
known. It's
eraser
well known.
heads and old VHS copies of eraser heads, and they just mush them up.
That's what happened to all of those.
E.T. got a landfill, Eraserhead got turned into vegetarian meatballs.
Apart from the 3 copies that are currently in the hands of private collectors, along with Fury from the Deep.
Jesus. So I like, they were nice, but no, DC FANDOME, Matthew. DC FANDOME. We're a pop culture podcast that has been starved of content for the longest time. Starved
of content, but not of chips.
Starved. We had to revisit someone's oeuvre for 2 episodes. Someone's cinematic oeuvre, which led to me realizing this last night, actually, as of recording this, that Lucy, during initial isolation, watched Batman 89, like, just while she was working on a craft project.
Yeah.
And she'd come upstairs, she'd be like, let me guess what I'm watching. I'm like, what? And I'd just listen, I'd be like, oh, God, you're watching Batman 89? She's like, yeah. I was like, do you want me to come down? She was like, no, I've literally just put it on because I want to watch it. I'm not, like, baiting you. Like, you can come down if you want. I was like, yeah, well, I came down and watched it for a bit because it is one of my favourite movies ever and one of my favourite Batman movies.
It's fabuloso.
She said she was going to watch Returns and she didn't. So last night she went, you didn't watch Batman Returns like 3 months ago, and you said you were going to. Should we watch it? She went, yeah, all right. And we put it on. I'm sorry, Matt, but your favourite Batman movie's garbage.
No, it isn't. I did a video on it and everything.
It's really pretty garbage. It's really pretty and batshit mental. And
it's great.
When it's cartoony and owns it, it's so good. But, like,
when is it not cartoony and owning it?
The times it's trying to make a serious point about judgmentalism, isolation, about discrimination, about abuse. It's weird because it deals with some really heavy themes, but then kind of abandons them. And again, I will reiterate, we've talked about this in the podcast before. If we don't like a thing, or in this case, like, if I don't like a thing, it does not mean I am right. Nor does it mean you are right in bollocking me for it, dear listener. Opinions are completely subjective.
I just want to get this straight. Are you saying that Tim Burton mishandles thematics?
You're not helping your movie.
Are you saying that Tim Burton introduces themes and then gets bored of them and just decides to do weird, kooky-looking stuff instead?
Do you know how much Batman is in Batman Returns? A
like
2 hour and 1 minute
Batman.
movie. It's like, and that's counting Bruce Wayne. Counting Bruce Wayne, he's about 25 minutes of the film. He's barely in a quarter of his own freaking movie. Batman Returns every other half hour to say, I'm in this film.
That's why it's called that, but it was a too long a title for all the Happy Meal toys.
It's only on this viewing, because I'll be honest, I haven't watched this movie in about 9 years. It's only on it's a film I watched so much as a kid. I watched the VHS this so much as a kid, but like I hadn't realized till this viewing, like the Red Circle Triangle, the Red Triangle Circus Gang, and Oswald's life story don't quite make sense as presented.
God, no, none of it makes sense.
Oswald Cobblepot as a baby his parents judge him because he is sort of deformed and aggressive. So they throw him into the river. and he stumbles into the sewers and ends up in, presumably at this point, a working zoo?
I guess.
Maybe, I don't know, but he ends up in the penguin habitat.
It's the middle of winter, so it's an out-of-season zoo.
True. And he coincidentally ends up in the habitat of the one creature that he kind of resembles.
Yeah.
And then in the film, it's presented as Oswald has emerged 33 years later. Yeah, right. 33 years later.
72 years later.
86 years later, he emerges. Not looking a day over 85. And he's like, I want to find my parents. I want to find out where I came from. That's what I want. But we also know that he's opportunistic and he's trying to get power in some way because he's bribing Max Schreck, the energy mogul, over crimes and he knows he's committed.
Listen, all he needs is a couple of outlets in that weird pond.
Cool.
That he lives in.
What's his end game then? Just on the surface of them, what is Oswald Cobblepot? Sorry, Penguin's end game. I guess he finds out he's a Cobblepot genuinely in real time in the film. He doesn't know that before.
Yeah.
It's just like, while I'm here, who were my parents? I'm gonna find it out. So there's that. But his end game is he wants to. It's that thing of I just want to be accepted, but really it's I want to be better than everyone and then kill and shag and sue and rob he has no end game that will end in him being successful.
He just wants to get laid.
His end game will end with him being arrested. Like no matter what, his end game is it will end with him being arrested after a brief period of being the nation's darling. Like
yes,
that's
because he's a villain, Christopher.
Yeah, but
he's a villain.
But the movie opens in a way that makes you want to. Like, it says, "Hey, this guy was thrown away as a baby. That's horrible." And you're like, "Yeah, that was horrible." But don't worry, you don't have to feel bad about it because he's a wannabe rapist, murderer, robber man. And it's like, wait, what are you trying? What are you trying to say to us here? And then only on this viewing did I notice something that I'd never clicked with me as a kid. I knew he was connected to the Red Triangle Circus Gang because he's working with them in the film. Like a bunch of them hang out in his lair, and when he wants to make the current mayor look crap at looking after his city, he sends him out into the town to destroy stuff. Because he wants to run for mayor, which only happens because Tim Burton vaguely recalls that happening in the Adam West show for a story, and is like, "We'll do that." It's like, okay, wait, what? Why would he run for? Huh? I don't. Huh? Anyway, because what does Shrek get out of this? What does Shrek get out of this? It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, Shrek's like, as soon as he's mayor, then I can do my power plant that I want to do to hold Gotham's power as a surplus, and then everyone will come to me.
Yeah, he's going to sell it back to him at a premium, like Enron. Yeah,
sure. So let me employ this rapey, stabby, murder, robber Birdman as mayor, and then no one will suspect that I was up to something. It's just, I don't know. But anyway, so he does that. But then something I missed every time was Batman does the bit where he's in the cave, the whole Vichyssoise sequence. It's supposed to be cold. I love the way Keaton and Goff play that. He just takes the thing, spits it out, and he's like, "Soup is cold." Like, as though he's surprised by it. So much he spat it out. And he's like, Vichyssoise is supposed to be cold. He's just like, doesn't even go like, "Oh." He just looks back at the soup and goes, and carries on reading. While Alfred's sat there like, "You ignorant fuck, Mr. Wayne."
Because he doesn't...
Master Wayne, I want to kill you in your sleep. That's the look he's giving it.
It's because he doesn't pay attention to anything. He can't see it. He could have been fed he could have been presented with a bowl of lava and he would have put it into his mouth without looking. Because that's how much he trusts Alfred.
They kind of play Bruce's weird relationship with Alfred in this movie as he's pissed off at him because 3 years earlier he let Vicky Vale into the Batcave. It's really weird.
There's one line about that. There's one line about it.
It gets its own shot where Keaton improvises, and you know the only reason that's in there is because some people complained to fan magazines about it. So they were like, well, "We've got to acknowledge it was weird." Alfred let him. No, it makes perfect sense in Batman '89 that he lets her in the Batcave. He's trying to save Bruce's soul. It makes perfect sense. Anyway.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense to Bruce.
I know, but Bruce is a freaking moron in these movies, and I say that's someone who loves the '89 film. So He's
Well,
looking at
that's
this
a good thing.
and it basically, the Red Triangle Circus Gang have toured America for years and eventually disbanded after a series of missing child cases in numerous towns, children going missing. And when the circus were finally arrested and questioned, one member was missing. The implication being that it was Oswald Cobblepot, because you see in the photo of that article, there's a little hunched over guy with a crooked nose. And you're like... So it hit me last night. So the real story is Oswald went into the sewers, was found by these penguins, then somehow eventually ended up with a travelling circus, has gone around America, and has now come back to take advantage of his birth and his origins to be like, I'm going to be like, I've lived in your sewers for years. But he also must have lived in the sewers long enough that the myth of the penguin man in the sewers exists, because at the beginning of the film, there's a load of shit about that.
That seems fairly recent, though.
It's fair enough, but like long enough that he's been noticed. That he's on Gotham's mind, so that when he emerges, everyone's like, that's the penguin man from the sewers.
That's the penguin.
But that two questions. One, when did the rest of the Red Triangle Circus Gang come back to him after having been arrested for all these other things? Like, when did they come back to him and go, hey, Oswald, we found you in the sewer. What's the next plan, boss? Because that's why Batman wants to take him down. He's like, your candidate, your golden boy Oswald is a crime boss, he says to Max Schreck.
He's a crime boss.
He says that as Bruce as well. Like, he gives away that he's investigating him to Max. I'm like, why are you doing that? Anyway, but second question, what's with the missing children plotline?
Oh, he eats children.
But that's what I'm saying. If that's the case, tell us that. And then we as an audience will go, oh yeah, no, he's not to be sympathised with. He's definitely a monster. But Tim really plays on the idea of, no, Oswald is just, he's a misunderstood character. You're showing us that he's allowing murder and he's a sexual predator and all that stuff. He's not misunderstood, Tim. You are giving us a flat-out villain.
See, that's
Make your mind up. Pick a lane, Tim. Pick a lane in your Saturday morning cartoon.
Tim Burton wants
I'm
us
so
to
sorry if anyone loves this movie and they're like, is this episode? No, we will talk about fandom. But I was punched in the face by how confused this movie made me once I now looked at it from sort of semi-objectively. I was like, what is happening?
Tim wants you to have empathy for the child-eating, weird Birdman sewer-dwelling outcast. Because Tim Burton is a weird child-eating Birdman sewer-dwelling outcast.
Allegedly. Okay? He's allegedly child-eating. We have no
he definitely
proof
eats
that's
children. He definitely eats children. He's allegedly weird. Anyway,
I was
DC FANDOME.
Yeah, sure. Well, let's start with the Batman, the Keaton 1992 connection, shall we? And that bit of news first off. DC FANDOME, for those who don't know, DC Comics basically hosted a convention completely online as a like 12-hour streamed TV program on the tinterwebs.
It was a lot of people on a green screen being in a big dome. Big dome for fans.
It was obviously filmed and curated over the last couple of months, but obviously kept at bay so that they could then add all the exclusive trailers and previews in before it broadcast so that they couldn't leak. Although some leaks did get out a couple of hours before debuting, which
honestly, I wasn't paying it enough attention to notice when stuff leaked.
I went online between streams that day, and it was just like, the Batman trailer's already out, and I clicked. And what started was like a comicbook.com or whatever tweet playing a 360 res version. I was like, and stop, that is a leak. That is a goddamn leak. So yeah, there's that. But DC were like, here's a bunch of stuff, some comic news, some audio news, a pinch of TV news, not a lot, but a pinch of TV news, and a shitload of news about video games and movies.
Video games? Movies? What?
Aye. There are going to be more stories and more releases on, I think it's the 12th of September. I'll check the date and whatever. But like September, there's going to be another day where they're doing it, and it's going to focus a bit more on the comic books and the TV series, things like Superman and Lois Lane, expanding more on the Arrowverse shows and what the direction is going forward for things like Batwoman. I don't know if they're ever going to address, they definitely won't, but I don't know if they're ever going to allude to addressing all the DC layoffs that we discussed the other week.
I doubt it.
Because AT&T will be all behind this because it means everyone's talking about, oh, cool, look at all the cool things that are coming out. And that becomes the mindset as opposed to, also, what's going to happen to the families and finance of hundreds of employees who worked for your company that everyone's celebrating right now, but like is run by a third of the people who were running it a couple months ago because you laid them all off to save money.
Well,
Super weird timing, really, but you know, I don't know. I just hope everybody's okay and is going to be okay.
yeah, I think it's a symptom of a larger problem that we're starting to see on in many industries. As
it sort of made me feel a little bit that Fandome's a little cynical as in terms of its timing. I think the idea of it's great. Hey, people love DC Comics. Let's do a big event to talk about all the stuff spinning out of DC Comics and what's going to happen. That's great. I'm all for that.
I think the timing on these things is usually convenient, though. Like, they whap them out when...
They do what, sorry?
They whap them out.
They wet-ass pussy them out.
Yeah, they wet-ass pussy them out.
Oh, fantastic.
Whenever,
Cardi B drugged and robbed men. I just want to remind people about that. I'm so baffled that was a thing she admitted to, and people are just like, "Yes, Queen." I'm like,
was one of them Ben Shapiro? Is that where the grudge comes from?
No, because he didn't want to go anywhere near their wet ass P word.
No, he did, and he got drugged and robbed.
Oh, Ben Shapiro's a piece of shit. Carry on. Go on.
Yeah, Ben Shapiro. So, yeah, I think the timing of a lot of these things is cynical. Like, I feel like a lot of this stuff is sort of saved up for when the company's like, oh, things aren't looking so great. Let's push some stuff out. I feel like Disney have done that before.
Things aren't going too well,
no.
Rick. Oh,
No.
jeez.
So, or if it's the other way around, like, because they had Fandome planned, so it wouldn't surprise me if they did the layoffs close to Fandome. So a couple of weeks later, they could just turn around and go, "Oh, here's a bunch of trailers for stuff.
You want to see some movies and shit?"
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if that's the case.
But I do think it is important for us to do what we're doing here and acknowledge that, that still happened. And
that still happened, and that's
we should,
sucks.
We should keep an eye on the news in relation to that, and let's hope that,
Well, it's just another reason
that Image and Dark Horse, Dynamite and Boom and whatnot have the openings and the chances for a lot of creators and.
Well, it's just a reminder that big companies are the enemy, and we might enjoy consuming the things they produce, but it doesn't mean they're on our side or good.
That being
if they
said,
do have any sort of morality.
Let's suck the dick of Warner Brothers Motion Pictures, shall we? So, the Flash movie, which is now titled The Flash. One of two The Flash things at the Fandome event. One was the season 7 teaser trailer for the CW show.
Yes.
Which features Mirror Master, and she looked kind of scary, and they make a big point of, fun gimmick, but no, seriously, she could be anywhere. So you screwed, Barry. Run, Barry, when you can run again, Barry.
When you can.
Because he's lost
You just
his
have to
speed.
run faster, Barry.
Run faster, Barry.
Run, Barry.
We gently rib and mock that show a lot, but I'll be honest, the 3 seasons I watched, I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Realized
fine.
it was kind of tapering off for me a bit, and I was like, I'm gonna finish here, and very fondly remember the 3 seasons I watched. It's
like Arrow. I have no particular interest in it beyond the first couple of seasons that I watched, but I'm glad it exists, and I'm glad people like it.
Yeah.
There's plenty of room for shows like that are there and for people to enjoy. I just want people to enjoy more things.
The one that I actually do want to plow through now really is Supergirl, because what I have seen of it I really like, and it seems like such a light kind of ball of fun, which is I've realised I want to watch more things nowadays that just make me go, oh, that was fun. And Supergirl feels like that.
Yeah.
So I've bought me the first full season, so I will dedicate some time to that soon.
It's good, man. I've seen the first season of Supergirl. It's very good. I think I've seen most of the second season as well.
But in the most recent Flash stuff, it tied into the end of the Crisis on Infinite Earths TV event.
Yes.
Which had a wonderful little weird, funky epilogue scene at the end, where the multiverses had been breaking down, and we'd seen references to 89 universe and the 66 TV show universe, and Swamp Thing's over here, and Constantine and Lucifer are going to meet briefly because Lucifer's his own universe, and
Kingdom Come.
Yeah, like Kevin Conroy playing Batman in live action, and you know, Tom Welling and Brandon Routh reprising their takes on Clark Kent in separate universes. It's like, cool, go for it. What a great fun idea.
It good.
Turns out that was DC Entertainment sowing the seeds, or at least backdoor sowing the seeds to that event. To describe how things are going to work from now on in their movie universe. So the Flash, at the end of that event, briefly met Barry Allen from the DCEU, so from Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, Justice League. And
so the Flash that doesn't choke out fans in public met the one that does.
We'll get to that. And it's a cute little scene. It's like suddenly that Barry Allen arrives there and is like, "What the hell's going on?" It's like, "Oh, you're a fan. Oh, you must be like, your cosplay's amazing." It's like, "No, I'm Barry Allen." It's like, "But I'm Barry Allen," and it's like, "I thought this wasn't possible." Wait, you didn't know or something. And basically, it's hinting that the multiversal divide isn't done. There's something still going on that means that the wall between realities is weak enough that people can hop between them. And movie Flash goes like, "Oh, Victor told me something about this, whatever," and it's like, "Oh my God," and he just starts to disappear. But like, Grant Gustin's Flash introduced himself as Barry Allen. And he says he's the Flash. They confirmed at the Fandome event that if you notice, Barry Allen in the movies has yet to be called or go by the name of the Flash in the films. It's never been said in any of the films. He's just Barry Allen. Going forward, he will have the name. And he gets it from meeting Barry Allen in that scene. Which, as a fan of the Flash, the character, that's some real Flash type time travel shit.
Bullshit,
and I kind of like that. He's like,
I dig it.
That me called himself the Flash. That's a cool name. All right, fuck it, I'm the Flash. And it's like, sure. Things I am excited about in relation to this Flash movie are slightly overshadowed by the choking thing.
Yeah.
Like the same reason I
Miller.
felt really sick when the Justice League teaser trailer was like, "Look at Mira," and it's like, I don't want to. Thank you very much.
But we'll get to the Justice League teaser trailer.
Take that scene out if you wanted, Zach. But anyway. So, for those who don't know, Ezra Miller earlier this year was shown on film playfully, unquote, choking a fan. They met in the street or whatever, and their friends filming it. And
I think it was like out back of a bar or something, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, they're not having a fight. It's not antagonistic, but it is kind of like very physical. It's not, like, I mean, Matt can obviously see me right now, but it's not like two people jokingly going like, "Oh," like that kind of, got hands in front of your neck, oh. Like, it's Homer throttling Bart levels of, dude, why are you doing that? What is going on? And the reason why, because I think the fan has come out and said, like, no, I didn't feel like I was being attacked. Like, yeah, it hurt, but like, he wasn't having it wasn't attacking me. Although I'll need to cite my source on that one. I'll need to find any further.
I'm looking it up right now.
I remember at the time, like, there being a dispelling of, no, there's no hard feelings. But it was, the thing that's bugging me is Ezra Miller hasn't addressed it. He's not addressed it. And that's really weird to me. You're on tape strangling someone. Maybe address it. Maybe go like, yeah, I went a bit too, like, again, just say, and this is going to be a theme in this episode, just say,
what?
I went a bit too far. I did that. I misjudged it. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry to the individual. I'm sorry if it upset anybody. Like, that was stupid of me. Just say that. And myself, and I'm sure many others around the planet would go, all right, fair enough. Like, you owned up to it. Sure. Okay. Good. You fucked up.
Yes.
Let's move on. you know. But it's the lack of addressing of it for months that makes me go, it's so weird that you're now just going starring Ezra Miller, and it's like, yeah, but now there'll always be the guy who choked somebody, and it's kind of weird that it's not
because
been addressed.
people forget about these things, like we were mentioning with Cardi B earlier, like how the Cheryl Cole became a national sweetheart after she's got a history of violence against people.
Whenever I've seen her,
how people forget that Matthew Broderick killed a guy, or killed a woman, actually, I think, in a car accident. Like, people forget that Halle Berry hit someone with a car. Like, people forget that Mark Wahlberg did I think he did time for a racially motivated assault.
Yeah.
People forget these things. And
now,
I think it's important that they don't. I'm not saying that people can't change and make themselves better.
Oh, exactly.
But
second chances are important. Again, we'll get onto that later. But, like, you know, at least with the Wahlberg thing, this isn't obviously to lessen what he did, but did time. Like, Broderick, it appears, went through a legal proceeding. So it's like, there was, you know, there was, like, consequence to the actions, or response to the actions.
Yeah.
But when it's left in the air, it's just weird to me. That's really weird, especially when you're playing a superhero. Like, you're playing a superhero. You're playing a bastion of morality for kids. You know, it's I don't know.
It's odd. It's an odd choice, isn't it?
Like, it's, you know, like, it's sort of less of a thing because it's more hearsay. We don't know for sure exactly the full circumstances, but it's like the whole Jeremy Renner apparently arguing with his wife whilst holding a gun is something that happened. But we only know that because somebody leaked an accusation from a separate thing that wasn't made public. So it's like, okay, it'd be nice to have some clarity on this at some point, in some way, but at the same time, if it is complete horseshit and someone's just taking it out of proportion, I get that they're not going to address it. 'Cause it's like, why? Why the hell would we address this? This is ridiculous. But when you're on camera... Anyway. Things I'm excited about.
There doesn't seem to be any development on it, so we'll see what happens for that.
Let's see. The things I'm excited about. Andy Muschietti, confirmed in all possible ways now as the director and co-writer of this film.
Well, not in all possible ways, because my attitude to everything with this film now is...
Give it a week.
I'll believe it when I see it in cinemas.
Yeah.
Like...
Sorry, I'm eating a crisp.
That's fine. That's fine.
And by the time I finished it, Andy Muschietti will have moved on from the project.
Yeah, there'll be another director.
But, you know, the director of Mama, It and It Chapter 2, co-writer of both of those. It's like, I have faith. I have faith in horror directors taking on superhero stuff because they're very visual.
Yeah. Works for Shazam.
Yep, Shazam, Doctor Strange.
Worked for Doctor Strange.
The OG Spider-Man trilogy. Like, you know, there is a pedigree here.
And potentially Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah. I'm
absolutely
up for that. It's a multiverse story where different universes are going to be crossed over, and to illustrate that point, they're mostly going to focus on Barry Allen's relationship with his mentor, which in the movie universe is Bruce Wayne. And at Fandome, and in the day leading up to Fandome, they confirmed that yes, the rumors are true. Michael Keaton is signed on to be in this movie, reprising his role of Batman from Batman and Batman Returns, the movie where a freakish penguin man kidnaps children and it doesn't get brought up.
So it's Batman Returns.
Yeah, although this time hopefully he'll be in it for more than 25. If he's in it for 26 minutes, he's in it more than his own movie.
Longer than he is in Batman Returns.
And Ben Affleck has signed on to appear in this movie as Batman and Bruce Wayne.
Interesting.
Because they said in the panels and everything, it's about his mentorship, and it wouldn't feel right for there to be a Flash movie about this version of the Flash with Batman in it, and his Batman not be in this movie at some point. It would feel weird.
This is raising the question to me of how much of the stink around Justice League and the feelings that a lot of the people involved came out of it with was Joss Whedon, in the light of the things that Ray Fisher's been saying, and the way that everyone has been so enthusiastic about the Snyder Cut, which again we'll talk about shortly.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like they feel like they have to purify everyone's memory of what came out by tripling down on the stuff that got a good response. So people liked Batfleck, like even if they didn't like the films. I didn't like either of those movies, but I saw potential in his portrayal.
I like Ben Affleck's Batman.
So saying to us,
I like Ben Affleck's performance as Batman. I don't like the way.
Batman. Yeah,
I don't like Batman in those films, but I like Ben Affleck as Batman. If that makes any sense.
I know what you mean. Like, I'm not a fan of the 2016 movie Murder Man versus Captain Hypocrite: Dawn of Justice. Like, I'm not.
God, was that 2016? It feels like yesterday.
And then what I love about that is that was the first film I saw on my Limitless, and afterwards I still wanted a refund. And then 3 weeks later I was watching Captain America: Civil War, and I was like, suddenly I feel better. Suddenly I feel so much better. So, look, they're fighting each other, but we understand why, and we don't want them to fight. This is how it should be done. We want to see the excitement of, like, what would happen if somebody fought somebody, but we also don't want them to hurt each other because we like these characters. I wonder what that feels like. Oh, wait.
I'm so confused.
So if this is Affleck's final appearance, like new appearance, because it looks like he's not filmed something for Zack Snyder's that we're aware of.
They're not doing any new footage for the Snyder Cut.
I wonder how much of that is because of COVID. I wonder if they were planning to do some reshoots.
I think it's a combination of COVID and budget concerns.
Or maybe just use existing footage of the actors. So like suddenly there's an extended sequence where Superman wears a loose blue vest and builds a gaming PC.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, if that was in the film, I'm there opening day.
And then Ben Shapiro's like, honey, what's that smell? It's just a yeast infection, Ben.
Oh, God. Ben Shapiro's a piece of shit, guys. But anyway.
And he also can't satisfy his wife.
Yeah.
Or any other woman, for that matter.
Oh, jeez. Oh, God. But, like, so if this is his final appearance as the character... Cool. They're giving him a send-off, an intended one this time. Like, this is the last time he's going to play him. You're going to get to see him again one more time. An intend-off, if you will. A super intend-off. Affleck-tainment system. So they released some concept art of Barry Allen's new suit in shadow, so we can't really see too much of it. And then another concept art of Barry Allen's new suit in shadow in the foreground, about to be accosted by some unnamed goons fighting alongside Keaton's Batman. Which gave me a whap. A little bit.
Thickens. Just like me.
Bring a bucket. I was like, I've got to admit, seeing a new piece of artwork from an official Warner Brothers thing of that Batman made me go, ooh, okay,
Batman.
This feels like it's happening now. This kind of feels like we're going to see a thing.
Again, I will believe it when I see it in cinemas.
Fair play. But yeah, multiversal doodads, and they said that this is how the DCEU works. You are going to see films featuring the characters that we've already met in the previous, 7 films? Steel.
Who knows?
Steel, Dawn of Jaundice, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, Justice League, Aquaman, Shazam, Birds of Prey. So 8 films. Holy crap! There's been 8 of them. So
and by the time The Flash comes out, you'll also be able to add the Batman, the Suicide Squad, and the Snyder Cut, I guess, and Wonder Woman 84.
The Batman's not in the DCEU, but that's the point they're making. Batman,
yeah, that's what I mean.
Batman and Joker they are both. They're making this thing of saying they're both valid, and they both coexist with the other versions, and it's like
It's almost as if audiences can understand when one version of a story is linked to another and when it isn't.
Well, that's what I mean. You say that, but I have relatives who've said to me like, right, so I've watched the Eric Bana one. Like, where does that fit in with Mark Ruffalo? And I'm like, oh no, they don't. So I get it. I think there is some hand holding still to be done for just casual moviegoers. Like, I get that, but at the same time, the reason why it feels like they need to give a bit of a guideline now is because in the past, people can just accept that, oh yeah, that's a different version, because usually they're all out at different time periods. Like, no one is assuming that the Keaton Batman movie is connected to Batman v Superman. Like, no one's assuming that. But if they came out within like a year of each other,
somewhere,
yeah, well,
there's somewhere someone's got a 2-hour YouTube video on all the theories that prove it.
Well, do you remember, we talked about this a couple of weeks back, when Batman Begins came out, they were very vague about if it had a connection to the previous 4 movies.
Yeah.
Because I guess during its early development, it was a prequel.
Yeah.
And then during it, they kind of make a few little nods of, no, we'll do that. No, we'll do this. We'll try that. I mean, like, even the playing card, the Joker playing card at the end, you could still interpret that as Jack Napier if you wanted. Like,
yeah.
Because Jack Napier is playing with a deck of cards, like, way before he's the Joker. So it's like,
yeah.
Okay. Whereas, like, if you released Batman 89 and 89 and then released Batman v Superman, like whatever equivalent would be in the 90s, in 1990, I think people would go, these are connected, right? So I get the idea of going, hey everyone, they all exist. Some crossover, others don't, and that's fine. I kind of get it. And I think the reason why they feel confident enough to even do that and go, here's how it works, is because of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I think that movie's opened up a gateway for cinema audiences, whilst on TV, the CW shows have been laying that foundation for a good few years.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I wonder whether or not it will bring about...
Point, actually, yeah.
I wonder or not whether it'll bring about the next wave of think pieces about superhero fatigue, because everything's suddenly going up a step. Like, after Endgame, it kind of feels like superhero media in the mainstream has sort of gone, there it is, boys and girls, mic drop. Like, we did it. Look, you all came on the journey and we did it, and here's how these sorts of stories can be told. And
yeah, which is why I'm sort of...
there's a Spidey movie a couple months from now if you want a little bit more with that kid.
That's why I'm sort of eager to see what Marvel do now, because where do you go from there?
I think Phase 4, tell individual stories, plant a seed at the end of Phase 4. Phase 5, do your crossover thing, because by that point it'll be another 6 years down the line, and everyone by that point I think will be hungering for. Do you remember those summers when those 2 Avengers films came out and we all went nuts? That'd be really cool again. And then, here we are 6-7 years later, we're doing something else like that again. Like, there's... the absence makes the heart grow fonder, and I think DC are saying, like, they're not going to be mashing up all the time. We're not going to be doing crossovers all the time.
Yeah.
But this story is going to give you a little bit of everything you like. And then we're going to... So it's interesting to think that in the DC EU, we're going to see more of, like, your Harley Quinn. She ain't going anywhere.
No.
We're going to see more of Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. Absolutely bring it on forever and a day, especially if Patty Jenkins is involved.
Yeah.
We're going to see more Momoa because he made a shitload of money. And thanks to the next thing I want to talk about, I don't think we're going to be seeing the end of Shazam for a while either, because though Shazam 2 didn't make an appearance at the convention, it was discussed that there are plans, and I think they even announced that there's a title for it, actually. Let me double check that bad boy. The title for Shazam is Shazam Fury of the Gods.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yes. Which makes me very happy, because what a great name. But in the interim, we're getting a film that has been in development for what feels like, how old was Cobblepot? Oh yeah, 84 years. Dwayne The Rock Johnson is finally arriving in the DC Extended Universe.
This film has been in development for longer than its lead actor has been alive. Like, they knew...
and yet he was signed to it when he was born.
They knew it was going to take as long as it took. They were like, we want to do this film, but the person we want to star in it hasn't been born yet.
When will he be ready?
So,
you'll smell what his mom is cooking.
Unless you're Ben Shapiro.
Yeah. Wet ass people's elbow. There you go, wrestling fans. We finally catered to you. So play the Pogues. So Black Adam, DC's first. This is flat out about the supervillain, but it takes place in the DCEU, but also doesn't star WOMs. So come watch it, testosterone-fueled Chads. Movie is on its way.
Presumably due to them not being able to have started filming it because of various reasons, but mostly probably COVID. It's an animated trailer with voiceover from Dwayne.
Yeah, the trailer
Rock Johnson
was illustrated by Jim Lee and
very nice looking.
Colored and animated by Boss Logic, and it's a beautiful presentation piece, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really nice.
It feels like the pitch reel. It feels like this is what they put together. These guys went, let's make this. Dwayne, you're on board. Yep, great. Let's make it, and let's show this to Warner Brothers, and then they'll go, yeah, bring us this movie. So out of the 8 films that already exist in the DCEU, 2 of them are about the villains, with Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey more anti-heroes, but Harley Quinn's the main character, so yeah. We've had a Joker film under the DC Black label, kind of.
No, there's no film label for it, but labels of comics imprint.
I thought they'd started referring to that retroactively as the first DC Black movie.
I think some people probably have, but I don't think Warner Brothers have.
To be fair, they've never called it the DCEU either, have they?
No.
the actual people making it. But yes,
they don't have a label for it. It's just that Warner Brothers, they don't have labels for it. It's just
should we call it Elseworlds?
They should call
it Elseworlds.
They should call it Elseworlds. But at Warner Brothers, they're just the ones that make us loads of money and the ones that don't make any money.
Yeah. See, there you go. If Joker opened with DC Elseworlds, then they could have started a trend, because then every time they do something like The Batman, people would just see that. You don't have to try and explain the multiverse. You just see that.
I think they've already started a trend. It's just that because of COVID, we haven't been able to see it follow through in all the weird incel movies that are probably going to get made now.
Jesus. Jesus, the motion picture coming now.
Mel Gibson made that already.
Oh, right. So I meant Jesus, the superhero movie, but Black Adam, starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson, is about, I can't remember the bloody character's actual name now. What's he called? But the point is, he's imbued,
called Adam.
No, he's imbued with what is his name? Oh my god,
I don't know.
He's imbued with the powers of the wizard Shazam and all of his kin, and he wants.
It's not
to
Shazam though. It's
what is his name?
It's The Rock. It's
Teth Adam.
Yeah. How much
that.
do you want to bet that Teth means black?
Probably. He and his people in Kandak are slaves, and he's like, I want to save. It's hardcore Moses. It's like, I want to save my people. So, the Wizard Shazam's people and all that, because they tease it in Shazam, don't they? They're like, we imbued these powers to people before, and we had to imprison someone for screwing around with it, and so we've not given it. He killed my brothers and sisters, so I've never given it out again, but I need to now because I'm dying and shit's gonna go down. And that's the premise of Shazam. Is like, and he ends up giving Billy Batson you're pure of heart. Here, you have my power, and I'm dead now. It appears that one of the people they gave it to originally was Teth Adam, who, instead of just saving his people, murdered a shitload of people in revenge. Like, it wasn't about justice, it was about revenge.
Well, they might have been the same thing.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, no. Revenge poisons the soul, young man.
That's why he's an anti-hero.
But that's the thing. Now Black Adam is Shazam's like main arch nemesis. He is a bad guy, but he's a bad guy who was born out of wanting to save and avenge his people. So and the power, it's the whole like, does absolute power corrupt absolutely, or maybe just like, should we not give absolute power to a man with a murderous streak?
That's probably a good plan.
His divine intent, but his happy trigger finger. So, yeah, it's the story of a guy given superheroic abilities to save his people who takes it too far and is punished for it. The premise of the movie has now been hinted as he's imprisoned, and 5,000 years later, he is free.
So it's like it's Encino Man.
Well, the word is that it is set in the early 20th century, and that he will be facing off against the Justice Society of America. When that got out, I suddenly became excited about this movie, because I was like, wait. So what you're telling me is we're going to watch Avengers Assemble from the point of view of Loki. That's interesting. I'm here for it. And having decade-specific old-school superheroes be the antagonists of the film, who obviously we want to win, because we're like, no, stop Black Adam! He's a villain! Stop him! You know, it's going to be interesting. 2 names have already floated about, but go on, can we have who?
Can we have Alan Scott Green Lantern and...
Oh, I hope.
And,
I hope.
whatchamacallit, Flash, Jay Garrick Flash.
That would be amazing,
please.
wouldn't it? That would be amazing. Especially
we're not
Green
going
Lantern. Because we could finally... the Green Lantern would actually be a match enough to, like, deal with him. To deal with Black Adam.
It won't be, though. It'll be Man and Atom Smasher.
Well, 2 names they've teased already are Hawkman.
Yeah, all right.
Which ties more intrinsically into Black Adam's kind of history and past. And
okay.
So I'm like, okay. But for those who don't know, too long didn't read, Hawkman is basically like Egyptian god reincarnates in different person over the decades and millennia, and they keep coming back as the same person. They're like, oh shit! It's like if Quantum Leap were like decided and ended, were picked based on, oh, I'm dead and now I've been reborn. Oh shit, it's me again. Like it's
but also an alien maybe.
But also maybe alien kind of.
Yeah.
And Dr. Fate.
Oh yeah, all right.
Which again,
I can go for Dr. Fate.
Actually, a match for Black Adam, like a magic user. So I don't hate this. In fact, I quite like the sound of all of this so far. And I loved Shazam, and the notion that maybe the 2 will then cross over in the second Shazam movie.
I think that's the goal. Yeah.
Dwayne Johnson hinted at the panel though that the enemy of Black Adam might actually be, whether it's in the Black Adam movie or in a Black Adam planned sequel, the enemy that he might have to fight, so our hero in the movie, might actually be Superman. Because when asked, would you go toe a Cavill Superman, he says he can bring it on, but I'll whoop his ass. And it's this whole thing of like, oh right, that wasn't a no.
That wasn't a no.
No,
that wasn't
Dwayne.
a no.
And you know, I mean, I'd watch the heck out of a Cavill Superman versus Dwayne Johnson Black Adam fight. That'd be really cool.
They wouldn't need to be in costume. I'd just watch it.
Just the 2 of them. Just they're both in loose vests, and they're both building gaming PCs and seeing who can build theirs the quickest. And then they kiss. But
yes.
And Zachary Levi judges. But anyway. Adjudicates, rather. Lubricates. Anyway, the point is that welcome back to the Big Damn Simp. This week, so Black Adam, yay.
The point is that we've got this fantasy.
And it's called Wonder Woman 84, which released its final trailer.
This film's been done for like over a year, hasn't it?
Yeah, they call this the final trailer, but what it really should be called is the additional. We didn't realize we'd have to make another one of these. Yeah, because
unless the trailer's been finished for God knows how long, and they've just been holding it back because
like maybe this was the one they'd released like 2 weeks before release to be like, P.S. This is out in a fortnight, but
which was like
fortnight is now November. So
Yeah.
I want this movie plugged into my veins right frickin' now.
Yeah, it looks good, man. It looks like a lot of fun.
I really
It looks
want it.
real good.
I really want it, Matt. It looks great. And
I don't
this,
know what else to say about it other than that it looks great.
I mean, Chris Pine's going to be bringing the rom-com charm to it, it seems. There's a lot of Steve Trevor being kind of adorably a man out of time.
Yeah, he's a charming boy, that Chris Pine.
And Gal Gadot looking majestic as fuck. Like,
Yeah.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think Wonder Woman is shite in Batman v Superman. I think she's fine and underutilized in Justice League. Because we then, between those movies, saw her at her absolute best in Wonder Woman, where Gal Gadot and Patty Jenkins combined created a fantastic iteration of that character.
Yeah.
Who, more than any other superhero performance, when I watch that film, reminds me of Chris Reeve. I think of the original Superman the movie when I watch her in that. There's that hope and innocence, as well as that assertiveness, like in her performance. It's like she knows what she's doing. She's saving the day, and she's an absolute optimist. Like she is just
absolute optimist.
And in that film, obviously, it's to a fault. That's kind of the point. Is that it's like, Diana, your worldview might actually be a bit too naive.
Yeah.
But by the end, it's like, yeah. Do you know what? You are thinking about things the right way. Like the rest of the world needs to look at you as an example, and it's you know. To know we're going to play in that sandbox again, but this time with leg warmers and neon and Pedro Pascal playing a version of Maxwell Lord that is, I mean, he's oddly familiar the way they do it, but I can't quite put my finger on it. So he's a villain, but
I can't quite put my tiny fingers on it.
Businessman, and he's running for president, and he's got a very distinct blue suit and red tie. With a tan and a swishy fringe going on, and he's a prick. And he's absolutely a villain who's promising things, but like really has a completely different agenda. And
he's turning people into cat ladies.
Okay, that's not as familiar. Kristen Wiig, man, this trailer is highlighting particularly Chris Pine and Kristen Wiig. They're the focus of this trailer. I gotta say, we don't get kind of a close on Cheetah, really. We don't get a high enough resolution screen grabbable moment to see exactly what she looks like. Like, we get the gist, but she's always in motion.
I'm gonna spoil it for you. She looks like a cheetah.
And that motion is feral.
What did you think she was gonna look like?
Well, yes, but like it was that whole thing for years of like, for a couple of years now, of how they're going to make her look, and then some early merch leaks come out, and people are like, that looks really odd. But it's also a low-resolution photograph of some packaging in the back room of a toy store somewhere, so it's like, it doesn't really, you need to see emotion. Well, in motion, we still can't see her properly, but she looks terrifying, like the way she's moving, just like, it's scary, and which is good, because like, Wonder Woman's in a gold-plated armored suit with wings. You kind of need to put her up against something where you're like, that armor might not protect her.
that is a hell of a suit.
It looks so. The bit where she just like shrugs off the wings, like breaks them off. It's like,
it looks
that
real
looks
cool.
so good. That looks so good. For Christ's sake, they opened the trailer with what the last trailer closed with: a shot of Wonder Woman using her lasso to swing from lightning bolts.
Swing on lightning.
If this isn't on the side of a panel van by the end of the year, I'll be very surprised. It's the best heavy metal album cover we're never going to see.
She's swinging on lightning, Chris.
A gold-plated Wonder Woman swinging on lightning. I'm there.
She's swinging.
Freaking there. I want this movie, lightning. And I can't wait to go and see it when it's safe to do so. I really can't. And it seems that that's their plan. They are going to hold off as long as they can.
It gonna be good, boy.
It gonna be good, son. Let's leap to the other medium briefly before we circle back to the movie films.
Oh, do we have to?
We do, sir. We do. So, I mean, there's a couple of little cartoon surprises. I've not watched them all, but there was a bit where Harley Quinn, Kaylee Cuoco's Harley Quinn from the animated series, answered fan questions and swore like a trooper at them on the thing. Censored, of course. But no confirmation as of yet.
Cowards.
Whether there's going to be a third season. There was a really nice sort of Sweded / kit-bashed sketch where Batman Beyond, Terry McGinnis and Bruce Wayne in the Batcave got hold of footage from the multiverse because the multiversal walls are breaking down, and they watched part of a Batman 66 episode.
Oh, brilliant.
And Bruce, voiced by Kevin Conroy, is trying to rationalize what's happening while Terry is just taking the piss out of it the whole time. It's really fun. Like, it's a proper funny
That's
little...
quite good.
He's the most dangerous psychotic criminal known to man. He painted over his mustache. Like, it's brilliant, because it's not saying, that shit. It's going, wow, it is weird how different the takes on this character are, isn't it?
Silly.
But it was after the Flash stuff where it was like, all Batman is valid Batman, guys. It's like, you're right,
Listen, all Batman's always been valid Batman. It's just that not all Batman is good Batman.
Well, on that note, the next two things we're going to talk about are directly tied into Batman. One is the next game from a company who have made Batman a household name to those who only hold game controllers over the last decade.
Hey.
And one is a new Batman story by a company that has worked on that iteration of Batman, who are going off in their own direction now to create something new. One of them, I was surprised at how much I really like the look of, and I would like to get my hands on it and play. And the other is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League by Rocksteady Games.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
So,
AKA, oh look, Superman's evil again.
Can we talk about that for a second, please?
Can we just not do evil Superman for like 5 minutes?
Oh god, I would love that. So there's been a recurring thing at Warner Brothers for years now. Motion pictures, animation, games, etc. Where it seems that people on high at the company are like, yeah, but Superman's a bit boring, isn't he? Or we can't really figure out what to do with Superman. As recently as 2 months ago, there was like an interview, wasn't there, where like one exec was like, we're not really sure what we're going to do with Superman in the films. It's like, how about you
just make a Superman
tell
film.
a good Superman story, you dumb, talentless fucks. Because Superman is an incredible character. He's lasted nearly 100 years as a mainstay of popular culture. Yep. Why? Because he answers to the times that his stories take place in. He's a bastion of hope. He's a symbol of goodness.
Well, not anymore, he isn't.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, the idea is, he is a guy doing the right thing. He is a god playing among children. Like, yeah, he's the only adult in the room.
Well, I think the thing with Superman is that
he is incorruptible, and that's why he's inspiring.
Which is why they always do the thing of, oh no, the Incorruptible's been corrupted. But it's been done so many times now across various media that it's just not interesting anymore. Do it once,
interesting. Do it twice, cool. Maybe a bit stagnant now. Find a new way to do it, great, awesome, cool. Like, why not? But to keep doing it, and to keep doing it exclusively to him, is so frustrating. It's so frustrating because it's become... there will be a generation of younger viewers and players and readers to whom that's Superman to them. Like, they think, oh, Superman, yeah, he's the good guy who goes bad. It's like, but he isn't.
No.
He isn't, though. He freaking... Even his evil twin from another universe isn't evil. He's just misunderstood and gets things wrong because his world is literally backwards. Yeah. Like, it's, it's just... So, to kind of chart it, I guess the first big version of it happening is Superman 3. Where
we don't need to chart it. We just need to say it's bad.
There's only like 4 or 5, but like Clark and Superman are ripped into 2 different people, and all of the badness of Clark and humanity is in Superman. And even though he's called Evil Superman in tie-ins, in script, in merchandise for Superman 3, the most evil shit he does is like flick peanuts at a mirror. Like, he's not evil, he's just a dick.
It's pretty evil.
But you know what I mean? No. Evil with peanuts is Bullseye, the 2003 Daredevil movie. Choking a woman on an airplane to death by flicking a peanut into her open mouth. Oh, she's sleeping. Can I get you anything else? More peanuts, please. So I like that film. It is a piece of shit. But anyway.
Yeah, it's not very good, but I like it.
It's not good, but I like it. Someone in the comments now, but the director's cut is better, but it's still a piece of shit. But
it's still not very good.
Anyway, Daredevil 2003, or as I like to call it, Colin Farrell has a ball. So
The head.
yeah. Michael Clark Duncan is swag.
Yeah.
So I mean, come on, his opening freaking track is "Dirty Dog," It's that slow pan up on him.
Christopher, back on track.
These things are better. Anyway, the point is, I'm having more fun talking about him like smoking a giant hoagie. So like,
I know, but this podcast is already an hour long, and we've not even talked about half the stuff we need to talk about.
people remember Superman 3 because of Evil Superman and like the computer sequence and Richard Pryor and all these things. Like, sure, but like it works well in that movie, and the joy of it is when the two Clarks come back together, merge back into Superman and save the day. That's the fun of it. Bizarro is is evil Superman zombie creature alien thing, and there's a charm to that. A Superman getting corrupted in the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover, and the two Supermen, Tyler Hoechlin and Brandon Ruth, having to fight briefly, is great. It works great in that, because it's like, oh my god, two versions of Superman having to fight. But ultimately, he prevails. Injustice, Gods Among Us, somewhat horrible happens in Superman's life in that video game, something really tragic, and it breaks him in that universe. And the story is, the DC universe that's more familiar to the one we know, ends up in this world, and is like, what the hell has happened here? And by the end of that story, the reason the last level, the last fight in that campaign is so kick-ass is because you're playing as proper Superman, rocking up and being like, right, we're the two adults in the room, time for time out for you. And you play as good Superman, and you beat up bad Superman. And even then, what does he do? He has him imprisoned, and has Bruce and all the cohorts who are working to like save that world swear to try their best to rehabilitate him. Even at the end of that, he's like, there is a good man in there. You can get through to him. You have to try. And Bruce agrees. He's like, you're right. Because in that universe, it isn't freaking, but I hate Superman. Like, no, they're friends, for Christ's sake.
Oh,
there's and the only arguable villain version of a character in that universe is Wonder Woman. Like, Diana just goes full Lady Macbeth in that universe. Like, Superman, Superman goes bad, but the whole point is Batman's like, yeah, no, you can get to him. You can get through to him. And real Superman's like, you absolutely can. I didn't kill him for a reason, because that's not what I do. Like, talk to him. Injustice 2, really great game, beautifully played, great animatics and cinematics. The people look real. It's terrifying. But, like, the only downside to that game is it's completely set in the Injustice universe. And I'm like, that's a shame that we don't get, like, a good Superman in here. But I get it. They're telling a story of this world. Fine, whatever. Sure. They keep doing evil Superman. Even Batman v Superman is basically, what if these two were pricks and beat the shit out of each other?
And it has the evil Superman nightmare sequence.
Yeah, nightmare sequence, exactly. So, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is a new game by Rocksteady, which is based on the launch trailer, and everyone's going, oh, so many complaints underneath it. Like, where's gameplay? We want gameplay. Motherfuckers, it's 2 and a bit years away. This is their announcement trailer. Y'all ain't seeing gameplay till at least late next year.
I know, but what have they been doing since Arkham Knight, apart from failing to address sexual abuse?
Failing to address sexual abuse, basically, is what they've been doing.
Cool.
God, that's a whole thing. But, so
sexual harassment, not sexual abuse, I apologise.
Sexual harassment, bullying, and psychological harassment. Transphobia included.
Great.
Yeah, I've read everything about it now, and I am... So, the premise of this, based on the story trailer, is Amanda Waller has sent the Suicide Squad, in this formation, Deadshot, Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang, and King Shark, have been sent into, it looks like, Metropolis, because Brainiac has crash-landed, and there's Brainiac robots everywhere, and they've been sent in because they're awaiting confirmation of a target, or targets. Can you hear a buzzing noise?
I can hear a buzzing noise.
Yeah, there's some arseholes building an annex to a building behind us, which I wrote an official thing about to our council saying, yeah, here's our concerns about it. And that was 2 months ago, and they obviously haven't given a shit or replied because they're building it.
Nope.
And now they're ruining the podcast. Arseholes. So they find out that they're waiting confirmation of targets, and that's when, after fighting some robots, a helicopter nearly crashes, Superman arrives, saving the pilot from the helicopter crash, and then burns the pilot's ashes with his laser vision. And he's got like glowing purple eyes and veins all over his face. And they're like, oh shit, do you think maybe this is our target? as a premise for a Suicide Squad story, the Justice League have been corrupted. You need to incapacitate them. Maybe.
Well, it's straight up called Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League, isn't it?
Take that out for just a second, because oh my god, because like as an idea, like the Suicide Squad isn't, your task is to murder someone. That's not their job every time. It's you are being sent in to do a job that would get good men killed.
Yeah.
Because you have skills that might help you survive, but if you don't, we don't care. Like, that's the whole point. You have bombs in your necks, you are imprisoned by the US government, the US authorities, or like, you know, other authorities. We are going to send you in to do you are our butt monkeys. We are sending you in to do a thing that we don't want to do. And if you die, that's fine by us. If you live, great. We might even give you a little perk in your prison sentence. Like, might give you a little perk, might give you a better cell.
Couple of years off.
Yeah, like that's the premise of Suicide Squad. It's you know, it's the Dirty Dozen being pointed in a direction and sent into battle because they're expendable. That's the plot of it. So the idea of the Justice League have been corrupted, we need to incapacitate them or imprison them or get into the nest of everything that's happening and cut off whatever's mind controlling them.
Yep.
Of course Amanda Waller's going to send in Task Force X, send in the Suicide Squad. Of course she is. That makes complete sense. But the title of the game is Kill the Justice League.
Yeah.
I don't want to kill the Justice League.
I don't want to kill the Justice League.
I don't want a game where I have to kill the Justice League.
I do want to jump about as King Shark and shoot things with a big gun. I don't want to kill the Justice League, though.
Yeah, give me a game where I get to play as the Suicide Squad. Sure. But do I have to kill the... Like, again, we don't know anything beyond what they've shown. Maybe that's the title of the game, and what actually happens in it is just a case of, like, incapacitate them or whatever, and it's the gung-ho nature of the title is there to shock you. I mean, you go, what? Like, maybe that's the case. Maybe they're not the Justice League. I feel like a lot of this game is going to be there to shock you. Maybe they're not the Justice League. Maybe the Justice League are in Brainiac's freaking ship in, like, cryo chambers, and he's sent out clones he's made of them to kill people. Yeah, if that's the case, sure, cool. You get to play the supervillain story of what if the supervillain killed the hero, but it's not actually the good guy. Yeah, sure, I'm all for that. I think that's kind of cool as a premise, because then it's that weird thing of the heroes of the heroes of our story who are villains get to live out their fantasy of what they've wanted to do. Do you know what I mean? Like if Harley Quinn gets to kill a Batman because she knows it's not Batman, she won't face the consequences, and he's just a punching bag clone to vent out her frustrations. Like, that's a fun premise. There could be a lot of, like, dark comedy in that. But the trailer shows us possibly a brainwashed Superman kill a dude. An innocent dude.
Yeah, how would you know he's brainwashed otherwise?
But if that's brainwashed Superman...
How would you know he was evil?
But if that's brainwashed Superman, the story I'd want to know is, what the fuck does he think of this post-waking up? He was made to kill people, if that's the case.
No, but
there's a powerful story in that.
This game's got Captain Boomerang in it.
Who's got the Speed Force? What's that about?
This game's got King Shark in it, though.
Who's got a bazooka and a railgun? Sure, but he's King Shark. He should be the Hulk with teeth. Although it looks like he's being written in the style of the Secret Six Gail Simone version of King Shark, which makes me very happy.
As all things should be.
They confirmed at the panel that this is indeed set in the Arkhamverse, which brings up a few questions.
Yeah, more than a few.
One that doesn't really bother me too much, but seemed to bother a lot of very unnecessarily angry people on the internet. It's kind of odd that Deadshot's ethnicity's changed. Deadshot being in several of the previous games being a white guy, and in this he's a black character. That is odd, but I get that if, say, they recast the role and they wanted to reflect the actor playing the role. Yeah. Fair enough. Like, absolutely fair enough. Sure. Yeah. But it is weird to be like, this is set in the Arkhamverse, and for one of the main characters of the game to look very different than he did in the prior games. It does make you go, oh, that's a bit weird. Why not just have a different character in that role? Like,
why isn't he Bloodsport?
I mean, you joke, but yeah,
Why?
sure.
Yeah,
Like,
I am joking because
I mean, I'd be up for that just because you'd be like, wait, Bloodsport is the main character in a video game by a AAA
why isn't he
developer?
the Peacemaker?
But like at the same time, it doesn't bother me ultimately because if it's to reflect the actor or whatever, like sure, fine. Like that, it is better to visually recast the part to reflect who's playing him than it is to be like, no, it's exactly the same, but we're getting like some weird, dodgy casting choices going here. Like, I absolutely agree with that. But where is it in Harley's timeline? Harley in the Arkhamverse, and I'm working on a very long project for Big Damn in my YouTube channel that I've wanted to do for ages about the history of the Arkhamverse, which I'll be honest, I was put off of because of the recent Rocksteady shit. I'm like, I kind of want to like maybe go back to this in a couple of months now. But Harley in the Arkhamverse, aside from the events of Assault on Arkham, the animated movie, which takes place roughly 6 months before the events of Arkham Asylum, aside from that animated film, the Harley Quinn of this universe is very much the animated series doting mall version of Harley Quinn. Like, she is beyond help. She is Stockholm Syndrome to the extreme attached to Joker. She's separated from him enough in the events prior to Assault on Arkham that she starts to see that, no, he's no good for me, he's a piece of shit. But then in the plot of that movie is they go into Arkham to kill the Riddler because he knows some stuff. And while they're there, she sees the Joker. She's like, I hate you, I freaking hate you. And by the end of it, is completely with him again.
Yeah.
And she's slipped back into it. So where in the Arkhamverse does this take place? Because she's very much her own person in this. Like, after the Joker's death, spoiler alert for video games that came out over the last decade, after the Joker's death in Arkham City, she mourns him extremely to the point where she starts a plan to like kill Robin and create a Joker robot in Arkham City, Harley Quinn's Revenge.
Yeah.
And then by the time of Arkham Knight, she's her own crime boss, and she's running all of Joker's old gang members, but she's only doing it because through the tapes we find and unlock through getting Riddler stuff, she's been in contact with the Joker toxin-infused Henry Adams, who secretly is already thinking like the Joker when he's brought in, and he's like, I don't understand what you want me for, and all this. Like, he's already secretly is like,
yes,
sin.
yeah.
And has been co-conspiring with Harley to keep her posted on everything that's happening with the other people who are acting like the Joker. The only reason she takes over Joker's gang isn't because she's gone independent. She's like, right, that's it, I'm one of the crime bosses now. It's because she wants to get hold of the new Jokers because she misses her pudding. So even in that story where it's like she's doing her own thing, it's like she's not. She's beyond thinking. He's dead and gone, and she can't let him go. They're going for the early animated series tragedy of that attachment storyline for Harley.
Yeah.
So is she over him now? Like wearing her own gear in the Suicide Squad?
Well, I think the most important thing about that whole question, that whole situation is that I just don't care.
Thank you.
I just don't care.
If it's Kill the Justice League, I'm presuming that's minus Batman.
One would assume.
But are they too happy? Is it too great a thing for them to resist? And they're just going to be like, no, fuck it, it's set before night. Or whatever. Like,
I would refer you to my previous response regarding the
lack of
continuity of Harley Quinn.
You don't care?
I don't care.
Cool.
You know what else I don't care about?
Oh?
Gotham Knights.
Oh, shit. Rocksteady, seriously apologise for all the shit that's gone on in your company and maybe downplay Evil Superman, you talentless fucks. That's not to say everybody working at Rocksteady doesn't have talent, or that everybody at Rocksteady is somebody who is fine with sexual abuse or harassment in a studio place. Of course it's not. There are people fighting to expose things like that. But guys, just say sorry. Like Ezra Miller.
Say sorry.
Because we know you're listening, Ezra.
Yeah.
Just
I know
say
you're
sorry.
listening, Ezra.
Just say sorry.
Just say sorry.
You're not
and
infused
get a
by
haircut.
You're not infused by Gotham Knights.
No, yeah, by all means, like, co-op brawler with 4 different playstyles, but also, you know they're going to microtransact the fuck out of it because it's Warner Montreal.
Ah, I see. Right, okay.
And I don't want any more vehicle stuff.
Well,
like,
When you say you don't want any more vehicle
don't
stuff, do you just mean in games? You don't want more vehicle play in games?
Well, if it's anything like that, I guess it's Montreal. It's not Rocksteady, so it might not be like. And it's not an Arkham game.
Yeah, it's a brand new story.
But at the same time, like, I just don't particularly care about any of that. I'm just not interested in that game. Like, it's like the TV series. I'm glad that it exists, and I hope people like it. But it's just not something that is super interesting to me. I kind of feel the same way about the Avengers game, if I'm honest. And the two sort of.
Oh, I think Gotham Knights is exhibiting a lot more flair and appeal than the Avengers game ever has, to be fair.
But the two sort of like potentially multiplayer brawlers giving me a similar vibe, and I just don't really. I'm finding it hard to muster up any sort of enthusiasm for them.
What you're saying is it ain't Fall Guys.
I wouldn't know. I've not played Fall Guys.
It's pretty fun.
I hear it's great.
As of this recording, I'm streaming it live tonight if you want to come watch for
it. I'll probably be asleep.
And this is a reverse plug because people hear me say that to you after I've done it, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I kind of feel different. Did you watch the gameplay trailer? The gameplay footage, sorry.
I've seen bits of it.
Knights.
I just like, I give it a quick cursory glance and was like, this is fine, but I don't care.
I'm way more into this one, I think. Because gameplay wise, it sort of looks like Arkham and Assassin's Creed had a baby, and I don't hate that. Like, I like the Arkham gameplay style a lot, but the fact that they're not sticking to it strictly because it's a whole new universe makes me happy.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the story. Like, the contingency plan goes into effect. Bruce Wayne is allegedly found dead, and a message goes out to his four wards and Batman family members to say,
his wards,
now is your time. Like, you need to step up and do some stuff. In this case, Barbara Gordon as Batgirl, based on the hint of her watchtower, clock tower base post Oracle Batgirl, so very New 52.
Yeah.
Dick Grayson.
The whole thing
Nightwing
feels quite New 52, actually.
Yeah, I mean the colour schemes as well, especially for the costumes. Like Dick Grayson's Nightwing. The website confirms Tim Drake as Robin.
Yeah,
but with a very Damien-esque kind of design.
Yeah.
And Jason Todd's the fucking Red Hood. I guess they've got to have different play styles, but can we please stop doing Batman stories about the dude who shoots people to death? Could we just can we stop that? Can we please stop that?
Red Hood?
Now, to be fair, I've not played it. I've not seen any gameplay of him, and in the trailer his guns are glowing, but that seems to be an aesthetic thing of like each of them has a glowing weapon with their colour scheme. But maybe they'll be like, yeah, it's a taser.
It's a pre-order bonus.
Or it's concentrated laser fire or something, in which case I'll be like, sure. Because Batman would not be like, Jason, you murderer, you need to step up and be Batman now. Like, I get... And it's sort of a game version of Battle for the Cowl.
In a way, I suppose.
And there ain't no way Bruce Wayne is dead. That will be your campaign story reveal. At the end, you'll find out he's not. Because the thing about this that actually made me feel really excited, and when I watched the trailer on the big TV the other day, Lucy pointed out that all the hairs on my forearms were standing up and I had goosebumps.
Oh God!
Was the Court of Owls sequence at the end of the trailer?
Oh yeah, they're doing Court of Owls.
Because it looked like just the rhyme about the Talon and the tone felt right, like those shots of the sort of like a little kind of like resplendent common room in a dank sewer. And it's sort of you see someone sat in the chair, and then the camera sort of skips forward in the zoom, and there's no one there, and it felt. Watching that, I was like, "Holy shit! This is how I felt reading that book the first time, reading the Capullo Snyder book the first time." Like they have captured in this little trailer animation, they have captured the vibe of that story arc brilliantly. So you know if the Court of Owls is the villain that. Bruce Wayne might be publicly appear to have been killed, but the Batman's down in some fucking tunnel somewhere being tortured by the Court of Owls. That's what's going on.
What if he's a Talon?
Can you bring a Talon back? Can you revert a Talon back to their previous state?
there was a solo series about a Talon. So I don't know.
Yeah, because that Talon had a spin-off after Night of Owls. Was it Night of the Owls? Was that the... Let's have a look.
Yeah,
That's the one,
yes.
Yeah. Court of Owls and Night of the Owls was the first
Yes.
crossover where it was in Batman, but also in the other ones. And the Talon emerges in that. And then because the Talon is also then involved in Death of the Family. In some of the...
I believe so, yeah.
I don't know if it's Death of the Family. I think it's...
Endgame.
Endgame, that's the one. Yeah. The other Joker story arc. So, maybe? I think Bruce is down in the maze. I think the eventual thingy of the game will be, oh shit, we have found out what the Court of Owls are, what their involvement is, and like, I think he's alive. Like, because
you know what?
Because then if the game's successful, whatever their follow up is, they can stick Batman in it.
You know what I think it's going to be?
What?
I think it's going to be a case that somehow Bruce Wayne has lost his memory and is sort of living a new life. He's turned over a new leaf and has begun again, free from the bonds of the Batman. But things are going to get so bad that he's going to have to get the Bat family, the Gotham Knights, to assemble and construct this giant machine, and then he's going to go into the giant machine and it's going to give him all the bat trauma all at once and make him back into the Batman again. So he can do... They're going to do that. That's what they're going to do.
Which story was that? Because that happened, didn't it?
That's the end of the Scott Snyder run.
Fucking hell. Yeah. Yes, of course. Oh my God.
It's not called Endgame. I think it's Bloom.
I think it's just after. Is it just after Bloom? Because Bloom's part of Super Heavy, isn't it?
Bloom's after Super Heavy. Because Super Heavy is the...
You're right. Yeah, it's Bloom and Epilogue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Holy shit! I forgot about that.
To defeat Bloom, Bruce has to come back.
Like
as Batman and get his...
I didn't hate that at the time.
He has to get his trauma restored.
I didn't hate that at the time.
He has to get his trauma back, Chris.
I didn't hate that at the time because it felt like it was more that kind of mythical... Because Snyder and Capullo's run is very kind of... Yeah, here's the sci-fi.
Yeah.
But ultimately we're playing with urban legends and mythology.
Yeah, it's not as sci-fi as Grant Morrison.
So, like, I kind of like the idea of, like, it's basically the... You know, the god becomes a mortal man and sheds the burden of being a god and ruling over heaven and hell and becomes mortal and finds love and then realizes, no, like, this isn't, I can't do this. It is my place to bear the burden of everything. So I got it. It was more symbolic, but I know what you mean. It is weird. It's like, it's a trauma machine.
It's a trauma machine.
Just have like a memory reset. Have like a neural reset or something, and it's like, we're going to take you back like 4 months. And
no, it's a trauma machine.
Oh, God.
He has to be traumatized.
Show us on the Batman where the trauma machine traumatized you.
My parents being killed in an alley by a desperate criminal did not exist, it would be necessary to create it.
Oh my God.
I'm wondering if the trauma machine also applies eyeliner in the right place.
Do it. Take us there.
So that when he takes the mask off, he looks like a raccoon. As he should.
Raccoon Man. Coming to theatres in $0?1? Should we talk about that one? Because that was my favourite thing from the whole event.
Yeah.
I loved it so much.
Jeffrey Wright's in it, so I'm there.
Jeffrey Wright is Commissioner or Lieutenant Gordon. Oh my God. The Batman by Matt Reeves. Co-written by Matt Reeves, directed by Matt Reeves. Explained in painful, my God, they really should have edited this down detail by Matt Reeves at the panel. Did you see any of the live stream panel interview with him?
No.
So, He basically said the
Because
same.
I saw the trailer, and that was really all I needed to see.
He basically
That's
said
all
the
I'm
same
interested
thing.
in.
He said the same thing 80 times, basically. But he said it with such enthusiasm that I was like, if I'd seen you just talking for 2 minutes in a featurette, I'd be so excited.
Yeah.
Because it went on for 20 minutes, I was like, okay, yep, okay, we get it.
Listen,
but I would rather
see the
someone...
eyeliner under the mask, that's all I care about.
I would rather someone be a stuck record but talk with genuine love and passion than not talk with genuine love and passion.
True.
So, good on him.
That's true.
Seems like a nice guy. Holy shit. This trailer. So, The Batman is the 2020 or ?0 2021 upcoming movie that is only 25% finished.
And yet, there's a lot of stuff in that trailer for a movie that's only 25% done.
Good God, it looks so good. So my favourite kind of Batman stories are the animated series kind of style stories, whether that be a little more mature in tone or silly in tone, but like that kind of Batman's a detective. Batman's a detective who occasionally has to beat up aggressive bad guys, and everything's a little bit grim and a little bit like melodramatic in the low key is kind of my favorite Batman stuff, because then that means when you get the more flamboyant elements, they really stick out. So I hope this movie does do some flamboyant stuff and doesn't chicken out on it.
Yeah. I think it will.
I hope it doesn't.
I mean, how many other movies have got Colin Farrell in a fat suit? Like... You don't waste that opportunity.
But is it Colin Farrell? Yes, listen to the voice. But unless they're going to do some flashback stuff or whatever of like younger Oswald, I'm really confused as to why they didn't just cast a heavier set actor.
Well, they tried. They tried to get Jonah Hill.
Did they? For sure? Or was that all rumor mill?
So.
Because like,
unless they were trying to get him for Riddler, because he went with Paul Dano for Riddler.
Yeah, I can see that actually. We're comparing him to Paul Dano.
Because I'm fairly sure that is Paul Dano under that mask at the start of the trailer.
Oh yeah,
because he's got that weird twitchy move thing that Paul Dano does. Paul Dano's a weird twitchy actor.
And this Riddler is
great actor.
This Riddler
weird
is
and twitchy.
Very much the vibe I'm getting already is very much like the Scott Snyder.
Because he's called Edward Nashton in the cast list.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think maybe they've done that because they're like, Enigma's a bit obvious. Let's play around with it a bit more. I rewatched Batman Forever last night immediately after Returns. Was like, when Alfred and Bruce are putting it together with the clues they've had at the very end, it's like, Mr. E, Mystery, Enigma. I'm like, yep. It's his fucking name, guys. Like, yeah. So
ladies and gentlemen,
I get that they're going for Nashton. I get
Batman Forever, the greatest movie ever made.
Gremlins 2, the new batch, but sure, whatever.
Batman Forever is almost perfect.
I love Batman Forever. It is
just
flawed,
like Val
but
Kilmer's kissable lips.
It is flawed, but it knows it is and has fun with its bullshit, and I like that a lot.
On the subject of kissable lips, we get a good look at Robert Pattinson as Batman.
Oh, I thought you were going to say we get a good look at literally just Zoe Kravitz's lips.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, with those two in this movie...
Also good.
Those two starring in this movie, the bisexual energy is blaring out of this film.
It's going to be... if it's not a very, very horny film, I'm going to be very disappointed. I think people are already getting a bit horny for it, let's be honest.
It's set...
And with eyeliner like that, you'd be wrong. You'd be mad not to.
I can't believe Crispin Glover finally gets to star in a Batman movie.
It's like Crispin Glover.
So they're going for the weird outcasty Bruce Wayne, sort of a greasier version of the Keaton kind of Bruce Wayne, like where Keaton.
But it's not an origin story again.
He's this eccentric weirdo in the Batman '89. He's this eccentric weirdo. People don't really know that much about him, but he throws galas and fundraisers, and like even at his own party, Knox and Vicky Vale don't recognize him till he says who he is, and they're like, "Oh, so you can do Bruce Wayne, who is on appearance."
Give Knox a grant.
Yeah, give him a grit. King of the Wicker People. So I love Batman 89. And yet Returns really confused me. But the point is, you can do that. Bruce Wayne doesn't have to be a public face of his company, just somebody everyone knows the name of. So it's like,
It's kind of like...
so it looks like they're going for that outcasty kind of thing.
It's kind of like Bill Gates. Bill Gates isn't really a public figure, but everyone knows who he is. And they know he's a billionaire, and they know he's philanthropic. And a lot of people could probably recognise Bill Gates, like, on sight.
Yeah.
But he's not like...
He's not Tony
TV
Stark.
appearances. Yeah.
It's about to find a comic book equivalent. He's not like, there he is! Like, Yeah. So you can do that with Batman, and I'm interested to see where they're going. Like you said, it's not Origin. They've said firmly this is year 2.
Yes. And if you've ever read year 2, you will hope that that's not true.
No. Is it not inspired by year 2? They've said
year 2 is not good.
They've said the HBO Max spin-off series about the GCPD will be about...
it's year 1 from the perspective of the GCPD.
Yeah, but specifically one cop who is who suddenly becomes aware of how deep-seated the corruption is in his particular precinct. And it's the story about him trying to find ways, despite being completely outnumbered, to try and overthrow this and expose it.
Presumably not Gordon.
Not Gordon, but they've said that when asked would Jeffrey Wright appear in that show, they've said, well, never say never. So I wouldn't be surprised if Jeffrey Wright and Rob Pattinson didn't appear in that show at some point.
Yeah, otherwise why bother?
Yeah, and especially with the budget and the platform of HBO Max, and the money they're willing to spend on DC properties. More on that in a minute. So, it's interesting because they're going, so this is a Batman who's not the Batman you're thinking of, because the Batman you're thinking of is, like, swinging through skylights, punching Poison Ivy while, like, trapping Bane and, going back to the Batcave to choose which Batmobile he's going to drive. Like, this guy's
established, but he's still getting into the swing of things, so to speak.
He ain't got a ward yet, but, like...
No.
Oh, my God, please, Matt Reeves, if you're listening, which you're not, but I'm sending this energy out to the universe. Please, please do Robin. You're doing 3 movies. Please do Robin. For the love of shit, please do Robin. Robin is amazing, and pop culture at large has denied him his rightful place as a freaking constant cast member in Batman projects.
Please do Robin, but don't do Dick Grayson, do Carrie Kelly. Please.
Do both.
No.
Have the second film in his trilogy set in, like, year 6, and you've got Dick Grayson, and have the third film in his trilogy set in, like, year 10, and you've got Carrie Kelly as Robin and Dick Grayson. If you want, you could do a Nightwing film with. Give us that.
I suppose.
Give us a bit of Give us a bit of that universe. Give us a lot of that universe. I'm ready. I'm ready, baby. Okay. Give us Carrie Kelly over Jason Todd any freaking day. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you're gonna go for, like, we want a street kid, do Carrie Kelly, not Jason Todd, because Jason Todd sucks.
Slice of dice. Slice of dice. So Rob Pattinson looks great. Crispin Glover, creepy, greasy.
Batsuit looks great.
Oh, in motion.
I know there was some concern about, like, the design in, like, daytime and stuff, but I think it really makes sense as a piece of.
In motion, it looks brilliant. It looks kind of... Yeah. Now that I'm seeing it in motion, it looks like the Batman Noel suit.
Yeah.
In live action.
It looks less like... It's...
Little bit Earth One.
Yeah, it looks functional. But not in the sort of, like, super sleek special ops way that the Nolan Batsuit does. But, like, this is something that somebody's cobbled together on the quiet. And it is they've not chickened out on effective.
The flare. Like the cape has the arches at the bottom. He has a popped collar that is very much like you could get rid of that, but you've chosen not to. Like, it's, the bat design itself it's not like, here is a template. It's like, I have painstakingly made this look like a bat.
And it's bulletproof.
It's bulletproof, and it looks like what we thought. It's a gun. It's a gun picked apart, made into a bat symbol on his chest. And I finally got around to reading DC's Detective Comics 1000 this past week. After watching that trailer, I was like, I want some Batman, and I picked up the hardcover that I bought like a year ago and was like, I'm gonna read it.
Nice.
It's just a lot of short stories, and one of them's illustrated by Jim Lee and written by Kevin Smith, and it's the story of Matches Malone buying, going to a black market dealer who in the back room of his pawn shop has got a load of superhero and supervillain like memorabilia and ephemera, and is selling it for large prices. And during the story, it keeps cutting to just visuals of Batman fighting various foes over the years, with a big emphasis on like he's taking hits here.
Yeah.
Like people shooting at him and it's hitting him here and like on the chest, and people punching him in the middle and everything. And it's always like a couple times it's a big dark one, but most of the time it's a big yellow, circle with a bat in it.
Yeah.
And as it's going on, you're seeing it sort of breaking in the different stories, and there's like a metal plate underneath it. And with this dealer, he is like, right, what's that? And the dealer's like, that's the gun that killed the Waynes. And like legit, I've got the papers. Like this is the guy called Joe Chill used it. He killed the Waynes. That's like one of the most infamous weapons in all of Gotham. Like it killed like Gotham's first family. And Matches Malone's like, I want it. I want it. It's like, oh, King Collector. He's like, yeah, sure. And of course, if you read the comics, you know who Matches Malone is. Frickin' Bruce Wayne's favorite disguise.
Can we get Matches Malone in the Robert Pattinson and make a great Matches Malone,
especially with those curtains, like grease them backwards. That'd be great. Give him his eye patch. Give him a little match in his teeth.
False beard.
Yeah, that'd be so good. So yeah, he goes back to the Batcave, and Alfred's just like, "Why the hell have you brought that into the house? Like, why is that here?" And he's like, "This thing took everything from me. But it also is the reason I am who I am. So it's about time it did something good." And he over the course of the thought box dialogue, he melts it down, molds it into the next chest plate, and you see that he's got a couple of others that he's obviously taken out of the suit that he wears deliberately under his bright yellow bat symbol.
Yep,
his bulletproof chest plate. He melds that one down and just makes it into one of like the several waiting to be used. So it's not even like, I will wear the gun that killed my parents. It's, oh, the gun that killed my parents. Yeah, it's going to stop me getting shot one day. It's in that pile. And it's like...
Unlike in the Year 2 comic, where he's like, maybe I do have to work with Joe Chill and use the gun that killed my parents.
God.
Year 2's not very good. Don't read Year 2.
No. But it's like, oh shit. I wonder if that's the inspiration here. I
believe so.
The bat is the gun that killed his mum and dad. Zoe Kravitz is pre-Catwoman Selena Kyle. We're getting full-on Selena Kyle this time, for the first time in a live-action movie.
Seems like it, yeah.
She's the comic book Selena Kyle. Because Lee Merriweather is supervillain Selena Kyle in the 60s movie. Michelle Pfeiffer is Tim Burton Wet Dream in Batman Returns. Anne Hathaway, we get a bit of that.
Because she's dead.
Anne Hathaway's the closest Catwoman we've had to comic book Catwoman in live action, but she's only really Catwoman for the first hour. And then after that, she's, give me a gun and I'll fight the bad guys. It's like, okay, sure. So this is cool. It's like, all right, Zoe Kravitz is playing Catwoman. Okay, let's see where this goes. Farrell bullseyeing it up a tree under heavy prosthetics. Which is hilarious, because remember the set photos we saw of him where he's put on some weight, he's bulked out and sort of given himself a bit of a podge.
Well, he's just in between films. He just lets himself go a bit.
Well, that's the thing. It's like if he's playing a heavy set guy in this, and he can use trainers and stuff, because these movies have all these kinds of budgets. You can have a personal trainer. It's like, right, I'm going to pack on the pounds, and then as we wrap up production, I'll lose it all again just naturally. Fair enough.
We eat a lot of pasta.
I mean, you could just pad out the t-shirt, but whatever, sure. Yeah. Like, if that's what he wants to do, that's what he wants to do. But in those pictures, he has, like, bright, icy white hair. And we were like, oh, he's kind of going for an Emperor Penguin thing. No, turns out, he's bald as a cue ball in the movie. So he's obviously just gone, if I'm going to be wearing prosthetics all over my head, I'm just going to do something with my hair that's weird. I'm going to go silver. You're like, sure, all right. Unless, like I say, we see Oswald at different times in his life, and that's why he's under such heavy prosthetics, because we're going to see him look different in footage. I don't know. Paul Dano.
That would make sense, yeah.
Paul Dano, we totally see him, like you said. We totally see him.
That's totally him under that mask,
with
taping
the
that
duct
guy's
tape.
face up.
The use of the Nirvana track, brilliant. We hear Alfred, Andy Serkis.
Yeah, we don't see him.
We see that the Batcave is sort of like there's a garage underneath Wayne Manor at the front.
Yeah.
So there's obviously an entrance through there to the cave, and we sort of see the cave a bit at the end, and it's like...
Because that's when he gets his sweet bike in there.
The cave looks a little bit like the Arkham Origins version. That kind of just like platforms, but it is a big cavernous area.
Yeah.
It's not the Dark Knight Rises. Oh, we finally get to see the Batcave now properly. Oh, it's just a computer desk. and a cage with his suit in a waterfall. They're a waterfall.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. This is a bit disappointing. Considering the end of Batman Begins is, we're going to build up that fucking cave. And then we finally see it in Dark Knight Rises and it's like, it's a desk. And an archway you can kick a bit. John Blake, I give to you a waterfall under desk. Use it well. Yeah, it's just like, okay. So
it's an office job. Surprise!
Surprise, motherfucker. But yeah, it's like we see glimpses of that. The Batmobile looks sexy. Like it's just an old roadster kitted out with a blue flame sticking out the back of it. I'm there for it. The bike looks like the 0 year, like motorbike covered in military kind of like plating and pouches and stuff for equipment. It looks dirty as fuck. That looks nice. I like the fact they're just going all out. Yep, here's some riddles. Because it reassures me. It's like we're going to see the detective.
Yes, this is a mystery story.
You want to show off Batman as a detective? Make the Riddler the villain. Like,
there is also going to be action because we see him just beat the crap out of one dude. Which I think is a really effective intimidation tactic for like.
They've put that in the trailer to go. You guys are still really narrow-minded, like the Twilight guy. Here you go. Have you seen that shot now? Cool. Okay, we're moving on. Cool. Like, because you know that. For me, I was just like, oh, cool. Yeah. We're going to see Batman fight. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
But you know that was in there just to make people who are like, it's sparkly vampire boys, who don't understand that actors play roles and they play different people.
But also Robert Pattinson is a proper weird dude, so they're not wrong about that.
So they want to sort of go, yeah, this is him beating up thugs that have all got like skeletal face paint.
Yeah.
With very distinct...
Are they Jokers?
Well, very distinct, like, clownish grins on the face paint. It's like, fair enough, like, seed it. Don't put a massive... big blazing light of we're gonna do the Joker at some point, but seed it. Why not? You know, those other people are out there. These other villains are going to be here. And in the thing, Matt Reeves in the panel says you're not going to see the Riddler, you're not going to see Catwoman, you're not going to see Penguin. You're going to see the people who are going to be those identities very soon, but they're growing along with Batman, and it gives us potential to watch these individuals grow over the course of the series. So it's like, okay, they've gone, we've been handed a trilogy, so let's plan this trilogy.
Yeah.
Let's not make a first movie with some loose, like, come back next times in it, and then shit out 2 and 3. Like, you've given me 3. This is mental. This is going to be the next 10 years of my life as a director and co-writer. Okay, here's the story I want to tell. And it's like, sure. Great, go for it. Can't wait. Don't lose the camp. Embrace it. Sprinkle it in. They've definitely made some choices because there was rumours for ages it was going to be set in the 90s, but there's like smartphone technology in the trailer, yet the decor is very animated series, early Burton, timeless decor. Like it's
everything's sort of desaturated. And...
like these are buildings you still see now, but are more common and were lit more like this in the 30s and 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
Here is that vibe, which means that the film will always do what I think the best Batman stuff does, which is feel timeless. Like, rooted in its 30s origins, but this shit could happen anytime because it's not real. It's a fictional universe, so let's pick a style and go with it. And I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, I think it could be really fun.
I was interested.
Well, fun's the wrong word, but it looks interesting.
No. Like, as a piece of escapism media and adaptation
Yeah.
of a character that you love, like, sure. Like, I'm gonna have a fun time watching a Batman movie made by people who look like they want to make a Batman movie.
Yeah.
And not made by a dude who's like, I want to make a Batman movie, but I guess I've got to make this Superman movie in the meantime. By the way, my favorite thing about Batman is that he kills virgins. Because that's what he does, you pussies.
And
Let's talk
all we
about...
can do is praise that.
Let's talk about the weird dick sucking of Snyder around this event.
How masturbatory do you have to be to set your own trailer to Hallelujah?
A track which fans of your work associate with you because of its use in a sex scene.
Yeah.
In an adaptation of another comic book that you mostly didn't screw up, but also clearly didn't fully understand. So Zack Snyder makes Watchmen in 2009, and it's a film that took the world by storm, but it's because it was sort of a superhero movie that had not been seen by the popular culture, really. A kind of film like that had not been seen. It is a very visually impressive movie. Some of it really holds up in Watchmen. Some of it really holds up. Mostly the performances of everyone involved. They are going for it. It's unique in that respect. But it also shows the hallmarks of Snyder as a filmmaker that we've become more familiar with over the last decade, which is he chickens out overdoing stuff that isn't cool, brah. Like, he just avoids it. If he thinks it's too geeky, he avoids it. The end of the Watchmen movie does not feature a giant attack from an alien squid monster. Because that's just stupid, brah. Like, that's Saturday morning cartoon shit. I'm not putting that in my movie. Then why are you adapting Watchmen? It's one of the most visually distinct sequences in the whole damn book. What? Why, Zach? Rorschach is subjectively a very cool character. As in, holy shit, this is like nothing I've ever seen. There's badass elements to this. There's homages to other characters, like some of them very obvious, like visually and everything. Like, that stuff is there. And it's like, I loved reading this character. He is objectively a piece of work, piece of shit, son of a bitch, nasty bastard.
Mm-hmm.
You are meant to have a response to Rorschach that is either just flat out revulsion, or the same kind of response you have to a cool villain in media that you're like, oh, I love reading stories with that character in. Like, you're not supposed to like the Joker. You can absolutely like the Joker. You can absolutely be like, I love reading stories about the Joker. I love watching versions of the Joker. That character is a character that really appeals to me because I like looking at them and watching them and seeing people do different takes, people illustrating them differently, etc., etc., etc. Like, you're not supposed to have a beer with the Joker and sit down and have a beer with him and be pally with him. Same with Rorschach. Rorschach is a homophobic, misogynistic, racist piece of shit.
Yes.
He is the far-right ideal personified.
Yes.
As a character of action, as a visual character, he's cool. There's cool shit in what that character does. But he's not a good person. He's not a cool person. He's an interesting character. Let's distinguish it. He's not cool, he's interesting.
Yes.
He's not good. He's compelling. Zack Snyder thinks, based on the visual language of the Watchmen film, that Rorschach is a cool motherfucker, and I like that guy. What a badass.
Yes.
Yeah, he can be those things, Zach, but that's not all he is. He's a commentary on abusive, backwards mindsets. Snyder doesn't understand the material he adapts, is what I'm basically getting at. He doesn't understand the material he adapts. He really does not. He's a great visual storyteller, but he's not a good storyteller. He can tell things with visuals.
Of subtlety.
Yeah, he can tell things with visuals, but he doesn't necessarily understand what things he's saying with his visuals. No. It's Jack Kirby. He is not. Like, this is the Marvel method. He's like, I can see this, and this is what I'm going to do, and then I'll fill in the story. But the difference is Jack Kirby, like, could tell stories, and even
Jack
if he didn't finish the script himself, he left it in enough of a position that Stanley and people like that could go, oh right, yep, and I do that, and I'll fill that in, and it works because you can see where he's going. I don't care for Man of Steel. I see the merits in it. I see why people enjoy it.
Yeah.
I hate.
There's like half a good movie in there.
Yeah. There is the seed of a great film, but then the tree.
And then it gets all Jesus-y.
The tree gets hacked up and mulched and turned into copies of Ayn Rand books. The tree gets used for paper stock for Atlas Shrugged.
Help people. Or don't.
Like, wait, what? It's a fucking Superman story. But I hate Batman v Superman. I've had many years to think about it. 4, as we determined before. I hate it.
And that was just a one viewing.
Yeah. I've never gone back to it. I hate it.
No, I mean, the one viewing took 4 years.
Oh, yeah. Just like, no, that's what the next thing will.
So long.
I saw Justice League in cinemas. I did not care for it, good sirs. I watched it on streaming a little while ago because morbid curiosity and conversation with my wife led me to go, let's watch Justice League. I'm going to put it on. And it took us 2 sittings. Yeah. There are things in Justice League I like. It's mostly weird little moments. Barry Allen trying to determine how he's going to put down temporarily evil, fucking hell, Superman. And Superman watching him in the Speed Force is a very cool moment because the look on Barry's face is, wait, what? Because, of course, no one moves as fast as him. But here's this dude going, I see you. And, like, that's great. Yeah. That is a great moment for those characters, for a film. The best thing in Justice League is the return of Superman. When suddenly he joins the final fight at the end.
Yes.
And acts like Superman. And is a good guy. And he's saving people. And the action is badass. And yes, he's OP compared to the rest of the team. But he still is facing a challenge. And it's about him overcoming the challenge. Yeah. Like, Victor Stone is slowly becoming more machine than man. But he's still, like, the weight of all the pressure of this is on him in that moment where he's trying to condense the mother box. And Superman not only comes over, helps him, risks his life so that it's not just Victor who might die. Both him and Kal-El might die, but it's the right thing to do to save lives. So they both do it. Superman. And he's joking with him. Like, he sort of like makes pleasant conversation with Cyborg as they're doing this thing that might kill them both. Because you can see that Victor, even though he's all emotionless at this point, is afraid of dying. He's Superman in that moment. It's like, this is great.
It's
I freaking
Superman.
love this.
On the screen.
The rest of the film means I'm never going to buy it, and I will very, very, very rarely voluntarily revisit it. But that bit makes me happy. So, seeing the trailer for what is still called Zack Snyder's Justice League, although in the trailer they called it Justice League The Snyder Cut.
Hashtag The Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
I think you'll find.
Makes me... As a fan of these characters, I'm not excited for this, even more so since watching this trailer. Because I see a lot more of the doom and gloom. I see a lot more of the masturbatory, self-congratulatory culture around the existence of this new cut. And Snyder's ego leaking into the project. You can feel, like you said, the use of Hallelujah. It's like, oh my God. Well, whoever cut the trailer... well edited to the track, really well edited to the track, like the way they sort of like slow down the footage and speed it, and then black, and then back for the next bit. Boom. It's really well cut. It's well presented. I don't know why it's in 4:3. That's weird.
It's going to be on TV.
Is that what they're implying? Like, I don't understand.
I don't know.
But
just weird aspect ratio, isn't it?
I
just don't care.
I don't care. Yeah, no, I don't care. But that's why it's upsetting, because I wish I did.
It's weird, though, because I'm intrigued. I'm curious, just from, like, a standpoint of, like, how films are made.
I'm curious. That is the bit that's got me. Yeah.
This side by side with what actually came out in cinemas and go, okay, well, this is... Especially because he turned around and said, oh, yeah, I'm not using... Not only are we not reshooting anything, but we're not using anything that was in the theatrical cut. that was Joss Whedon's footage.
Yeah, so nothing that Joss Whedon shot. And based on his wording, I guess he's not using anything that his second unit director shot either. Like,
I'd imagine so.
Bit dickheady Zach. Like, the second unit... Because he said, I'm not using anything that I didn't shoot. Cool, so your second unit director and team are a waste of space as well, are they? Even though their job is to shoot shit that you don't need to put all of your time and money into.
It would not surprise me
B-roll.
if Zach doesn't have a second unit.
True. Yeah, the ego is there, isn't it? The ego
Shoots
is very
everything.
much there. So that's intriguing.
So
this trailer, how much of that stuff is it's like, okay, there's like 4 shots in it where I'm like, I recognize that from the original trailer back when it was a Zack Snyder movie before the reshoots.
Yeah.
And those scenes didn't end up in the film. We saw photographs of and we knew the casting of Iris West. So
yeah,
okay,
I'm sure some of that scene with him saving her is in one of the earlier trailers as well.
Yeah,
and the stuff with
Cyborg
Victor Stone playing football.
Yeah, the stuff with Cyborg saving an army guy from being hit by a truck that's like flying.
You should probably move.
You should probably hashtag. You should probably move. Cut.
Should probably move.
And the scene of Batman looking at a Superman hologram.
Yes, that's in one of the earlier trailers.
And in the initial teaser that we got for this film a couple of months back, for this new cut, Alfred doing the whole like, you're here, like maybe we still have time, was in the original trailer. Looks like it's in this version too. So that a few shots that we recognise that we never saw, they're in it. But then there's like 25 other things.
There's so much stuff in here that you're just like, this is another film.
Now,
which it is, because it's gonna be 4-hour-long installments,
or one 4-hour movie based on which option you pick on the platform, which is
so. There's basically what was in the theatrical cut again.
You got minus like 20 minutes, so only about an hour and 5 of the theatrical cut is going to be in this film.
Yeah,
what a weird thought. And this is the continuation of something we've talked about before. If you didn't like a film in the cinema, but then you buy the extended edition, which they did for Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad, and Sony did with Ghostbusters 2016, like, if you buy that on the premise of, well, I didn't like it in the cinema, but maybe I'll like this version, you're saying that this is okay to do, to repackage a thing I didn't like in an attempt to trick me into liking it. Like, that is, into maybe liking it, but too late, I've already bought it. That's what they're kind of doing here again. And there are people who were just curious to see what the original film would have been before production had to stop because of the tragedy in Zack and Deborah Snyder's life. Who were just like, I just want to see what Zack wanted to do. If you watch this and enjoy it, or watch it and get something from it, awesome. Power to you. Amazing. Sure. But the main reason this film exists is because some people got weirdly, violently nasty about it and toxic around it.
It's validation for toxic behavior.
It's validating toxic behavior.
That's the thing that I don't like about it. Yeah.
And yet, the people who are behaving toxically in relation to it, or have done, seem to be completely blind to the fact that this only exists not because we're saying you guys are in the right. We're making you feel that way. But it exists because we're about to make hundreds of millions of dollars off of USAPs buying an HBO Max minimum subscription fee.
Yeah.
That's what's happening here. Like, it's... So this whole thing is kind of born out of cynicism. And yet, fascination of how much footage was, like you say, shot, enough for 2 movies at least, because it was going to be 2 movies when it began production.
Yeah.
So,
and scenes for both were shot.
Yeah, so they've done enough to make 2 films, and it looks like we're going to get that now in the form of one 4-hour miniseries / cut. But also that fascination over the fact that in recent months, Ray Fisher and others involved in the production have been very open about the fact that their passion for seeing this version come to light isn't because they're like, I think it's a missed opportunity that we didn't see the project we were signed on for initially. It's born more out of, I want to have a version of this movie that I can be proud of because I don't associate it with the abuse I received on set from Joss Whedon. And it's really weird because it seems like this whole film is born out of which douchebag do you want to side with.
Yeah.
Like, Whedon has created some of my favourite things on this planet, but the guy's a prick. We've learnt this through so many things. His ex-wife's testimonials about affairs he had, his firing of Charisma Carpenter from Angel because she was pregnant.
Yeah, like the signs are all there if you go back.
Him
but for
bollocking
some reason...
James Masters for saying, "You are not bigger than this show. If I kill Spike, he's fucking dead," and all these sort of things. Which is like, wow. Okay, you're a bit of a dickhead, aren't you?
Yeah.
Versus Snyder, who is in terms of this project, he left it for horribly unforeseen circumstances that were tragic and I wouldn't wish anyone having to go through.
Oh God, no.
But Snyder's behaviour around this new version is so toxic and nasty that you sort of like, I don't feel like this is a Hail the Conquering Hero, the original vision is here. It feels like, this was fucking stupid. Mine's going to be better, and all you fucking virgin nerds who don't think Batman should kill can go die in your basements. Like, look at this, it's cool. It kind of still feels like it's coming from a toxic place. It's like Shrek. The more you learn about the production, the more you're like, oh, this is all kind of born out of being shitheads, really. This is weird.
Also, the film's not good.
Shrek Retold is better, so I agree with you. Shrek Retold is wonderful. It's free and on YouTube. If you've never seen it, listener, go watch it. A bunch of animators and video creators remake the entire first Shrek movie, and it's just this fascinating blanket, this patchwork blanket of weirdness. It's brilliant.
Is it, unlike the original film, actually funny?
Yeah, because it's Sweded, and Swede is always funny.
Okay.
Yeah. Buy Quibi. Get the Sweded version of The Princess Bride, everybody. Don't. Watch clips of it on YouTube and get over the basic novelty of like, oh, cool, some of the cast of The Office doing a scene from Princess Bride. I'm over it now. Bye. So, this whole thing's born out of kind of nastiness.
Yeah.
The only thing I really want from this is for Ray Fisher's stories to result in studios cracking down way more visibly on abuse on set.
Yeah,
I think
that's
forget Darkseid, Matt. That's the victory I want Justice League to bring to us. That's the victory I want.
The problem is that with a lot of these organizations is that the way you get to the top to be the person who makes those decisions is to be an abusive fuckhead.
And I'm hoping
so
that
it's kind of abusive fuckheads all the way down.
Well, that's what you're saying. Like to bring down Whedon and expose what he was like, but also tying it into the narrative of, and Zack now gets to take the mantle back.
Yeah,
is it's putting down one twat to raise up another twat. Now, of course, I'm not saying Zack Snyder being petty is anywhere near as close to Whedon cheating multiple times, firing people over pregnancies, apparently like verbally abusing actors on set of the film. Like,
as far as I'm aware, like there aren't stories out there of Zack Snyder being actually abusive.
Talking like a dick is not the same as being a dick to people.
Yeah.
But there is a correlation, and oh good God, it's weird to watch, and it's mostly weird to watch because these are characters that like we like a lot. Like these are worlds and stories that we love, and like I don't want to come out of this and go, well, the only thing I liked about the original, which was the sequence of Superman being really cool and a good guy and badass and saving the day. I don't want to watch this version and then be like, oh, it wasn't in this one.
No.
You took out the one thing I liked, but replaced it with more CGI grey people being punched.
I mean, the CGI grey people have different textures on them.
There'll be no mustache shots then in this version because there was no. They're not using anything from the
mustache
reshoots.
shots.
Which means that the scenes in the
cornfield, for better or for worse.
Which means the scenes in the cornfield in Kansas, where Clark is met by Lois and his mum, were shot twice. Because in the theatrical cut, he is digitally mustached to fuck in that sequence.
Well, from what we're seeing from this trailer, an awful lot of the scenes in that film were shot twice, to the point where
the lineup shot at the end, like the reveal of all of them,
it feels
because he's in the black costume in this version.
It was.
I mean, they could digitally tweak that, I guess.
There was a red and blue costume on set. There's a lot of on-set pictures from the Zack Snyder stuff of what could be scenes like that or around that moment with him in the red and blue suit.
Okay.
So it seems that the black suit was a post-production thing.
Okay. Oh well, I know a black suit existed as well because like there's footage from back when it went into production.
Oh yeah,
of him talking to Zack Snyder and Henry Cavill talking, and they're pointing at the suit on a mannequin, like and it's obscured, but it's like that's a black Superman suit. And there was that teaser pic he posted years ago of like a close up of the black like chainmail
the texture on it. Yeah.
So, but I know what you mean. Like, okay, so there's a nice mix of the two. So okay, we'll see. We'll see.
But it's a hell of a lot better than CGIing out someone's mustache. So there is that. I don't want him to do Henry dirty. I want to see the Superman that I got a glimpse of. Like, out of the 3 films he's in, that's the first one where I saw a glimpse of the Superman that I know he can be. And I hate to say it, but I think they're probably going to do him dirty.
Yeah.
But I think that's just because us and Zack Snyder have fundamentally different views of what these characters are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm curious about it. Like I say, if for no other reason than from like an interest in filmmaking, just how much of it is different. Because it, like I was saying, from the look of this trailer alone, it looks as if when they brought Joss Whedon on, they reshot the entire film.
I mean, I imagine Steppenwolf probably looked the way he did in the theatrical version throughout the majority of production, and retroactively, as it appears in this trailer, they've made him look more like the spiky living hologram thing from the extended cut of BVS. So, which is weird, because like, I always interpreted that bit from the BVS cut of it being the Kryptonian like pincushion technology thing forming him.
Hey, listen,
but now it's like, oh no, apparently
Zack Snyder,
yeah,
it's that he's literal to a fault.
Yeah, but that's a shame because it means he also still doesn't look like Steppenwolf from the comics. It's like, why is he now just a bunch of knives? We see a shot of Desaad, which is like, okay, we're going to learn more about like the family unit of like this group on Apocalypse. Like, we're going to learn more about them. And the trailer just, I mean, credit to them for the ballsiness of the first shot of the trailer being, oh, here's Darkseid. Anyway, it's like, wait, what? I mean, he looks like shit, but he's in it.
Yeah.
Why is he just grey? Like, just... Like, Darkseid is either bright purple or blue with grey skin. Like,
no, he's grey. Everything's grey in this film. Everything's grey. I hope you like grey because everything's grey. One thing that was odd, I thought.
Yeah.
Before we move on
to the final and best thing about the DC fandom
is the final line of the trailer. I hope there's some dialogue missing from that exchange between Barry and Batman.
Yeah.
Because in context, it makes no sense. How do you go from, oh, he's probably defeated dozens of super beings to being like, I don't care how many demons he's fought in how many hells. Like, it's, what? You are mixing your metaphors there, boy.
Yeah.
Like, how do you get from
how many
super
demons
beings
he's
to
fought
demons in hell?
In how many hells? He's never fought us. Not us united.
Yeah.
Wait, are you guys the demons?
I don't know how he gets to demons from what Barry said. It's just an odd thing. I appreciate the sentiment behind the line, and it's supposed to be like a boastful thing, but like, that was a jump of imagery. All right.
Yeah. Well, we know that devils don't come from beneath the earth now, don't we?
No, they come from below.
They come from the sky.
They come from the sky.
Oh my god! Do you think he'll be in it? Did Eisenberg shoot anything for Snyder? Because if he did, it would have been on closed sets, so I guess we wouldn't have seen it.
Because Joe Manganiello was involved when Snyder was on board, so presumably yes.
But also because he was working on the pre-production for what would have been the Ben Affleck spin-off directed by Affleck,
yes,
where Deathstroke was going to be the main villain. It was going to be Batman v Deathstroke. I don't know. We're morbidly fascinated, but I'll tell you what, I am I'm more downhearted about the whole thing now than ever, because it looks like it is just a slinging match of shite between different twats, and I'm like, I don't want a movie born out of pettiness, especially not starring these characters that are so hopeful.
But I do want a movie born out of weird, obscure 70s supervillains with ridiculous costumes, names, gimmicks, and I guess now they've all got bombs in their neck and they're doing a mission.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they fucking are.
They're doing the Peacemaker is in a movie. So the Charlton Comics character who was the inspiration for comedian in Watchmen is in the... God damn it.
So the soft reboot sequel to 2016 Suicide Squad, The Suicide Squad, got a behind-the-scenes featurette at DC Fandome.
Like those sneak peeks we got at the Star Wars things from before we got proper trailers.
And I kind of preferred that for this, because it was like, it was trying to say, here's the fun we're having on set, here's a glimpse at the set pieces, here's some words from some of the actors, and then we got... trailer sounds wrong. We got a roll call. Yeah. Of, here's your cast, everybody, minus the villain, like the antagonist of the piece, but there are rumours that are circulating from the days just before Fandom about that, and I'll touch on that before we finish. But
please do.
So, James Gunn, knee-jerk reactionary fired from Guardians of the Galaxy 3 just before it's about to finish pre-production 3 years ago and go into shooting. DC go, I mean, we want to do more with Suicide Squad because we think the property could sell, but like that last film was critically panned and David Ayer's also one of these twats that we keep hiring. Do you want to like come over here and make a movie with us? And James Gunn's like, I don't want... Actually, I've just had an idea. Sure, let's do it. And he goes over, starts making Suicide Squad. During shooting, Disney go, maybe we overreacted. Do you want to come back? And he went, yeah, I do. Absolutely. But I'm going to finish this, and then I'm going to take a fucking vacation. Yeah. And then we'll pick back up on Guardians 3. And it looks like he had a lot of fun making the Suicide Squad, because it's like a marriage of two of his properties. It looks like it sits quite firmly in this beautiful Venn diagram between the Rainn Wilson black comedy movie Super, and the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
It is a story about super-powered or super-skilled individuals who are not good people going on a righteous mission, or in this case, a mission with a bomb in their heads, so they've got to go along with it, to save the day in a setting that looks very much like, and they said it in the panel, like a 70s Vietnam War flick.
Yeah.
The Suicide Squad are being sent in to do some shit in a really dangerous place where
it's
bullets
very
are
John
flying.
Ostrander era Suicide Squad. It's very 70s Suicide Squad.
I mean, even the teaser poster that they released is just this painting, orange sunset and a helicopter, and them legging it across a field. It's like, that's visually distinct and different from the previous go at this franchise in a cinema movie film release thing. But also, by showing at least 3 of the cast members being the same, 4 of the cast members being the same, you're confirming that, oh yeah, that other one, that happened. And if you like it, this is the sequel. If you didn't like that last one, don't fucking worry about it, guys. Here's step 1. But here's a couple of the things you'll remember. Because no one really had a bad thing to say about Rick Flag. He was fine. We all felt that there could have been more Waller, a better use of Waller, but she wasn't a bad element from the film.
I love a bit of Waller.
We all was pleasantly surprised by Boomerang.
I'd still maintain that's the best thing Jai Courtney's ever done.
Yeah, I agree. Like, not well written, but he's clearly having a ball playing it. Especially the bit where like Flag is just like, right, that's it. Like, you don't have to do the mission. We're disbanded or whatever. And they're like, all right. They realise that the bombs are defused. And Boomerang just goes, Phew! And he just fucks off out of the bar.
That is...
it's the funniest moment in that film.
I think I would argue it's the only actually funny. It's the only intentionally funny moment in that entire film.
Kind of ruined by the whole "we're going to do the right thing" and they all march thing, and then he just joins them, like he just joins back in with the lion drinking a beer. It's like, no, he shouldn't have come back. Because that'd be funnier. The idea that you've got this dude, and then the moment he realizes he doesn't have to do this shit, he just goes, and that's it.
Or
and
if he does come back, they should actually make something of it.
Yeah. Like he's cowering behind something or whatever during the final fight, and it gets knocked over, and he's there, and it's like, oh, hi, guys! It's like, shit. Like that kind of thing. But
something like that.
I don't know. And Harley Quinn, who I think universally everyone's just going, yeah, I'd watch more of Margot Robbie in this role. She seems like she's having a blast, especially after she got to exec produce a movie about the character, which made much better use of her than it did in Suicide Squad, and also like was a miles better movie than Suicide Squad was. Yeah. So
Birds of Prey was
and she's looking
really, really good.
She's looking like she's literally just leapt out of Injustice 2. In terms of the costume, like it's the costume from Injustice 2, but with the black and red pigtails of the more recent comics.
Lots of black and red, loving it.
But let's talk about all our new favourites and new people we're going to be sad to see the back of. Have you got the? The cast list up?
We already knew this was going to be a hell of a cast because we'd seen the cast list, but now we know who everyone's playing, and we've seen everyone. We've seen Idris Elba as Bloodsport.
It's fucking Bloodsport. It's fucking Blood. The Superman minor villain Bloodsport. Like what? I think they mentioned at the panel as well that he's imprisoned because he attempted to kill Superman.
Brilliant.
With a kryptonite bullet. Brilliant. Harking back to one of the stories people know the character for. It's like, oh shit. That's a great idea. It also means that Superman has obviously defeated a guy who tried to shoot him with a kryptonite bullet, meaning that even off screen in this movie, he's already being more like Superman. It's like, yes.
We've seen Alice Braga as Solsuria.
Yes.
Don't know who that is.
Yeah, I'm very unfamiliar with the character, but I'm open to it because she flat out just looks like they've taken a Vietnam War hero character and gone like, there you go.
Yeah.
Like, that's her look. And it's like, okay, we're there for it.
Pete Davidson,
who I think will be the first person to get bumped off.
'Cause the less Pete Davidson, the better.
But also, he's not in much for. Unfortunately, him and one other person I suspect are out of it early, and the other person I really want to be in a lot of it, but I don't think they are. Sorry, go on.
Would that possibly be James Gunn mainstay Nathan Fillion as TDK?
No, but I think he will die in a hilarious way. So TDK is a new character, but he's not, because it's kind of been revealed through early casting announcements about a year and a half ago, and the fact that his logo, because everyone gets like a distinct like patch style insignia in the roll call trailer, his logo features his arms like severed at the elbow. So the belief is he is playing Arms Fall Off Boy.
Arm Fall Off Boy.
But TDK is like a name he's using to disguise the fact that that's what everyone calls him. So he's obviously come up with a cooler name. I think on the Weekly Planet they speculated that maybe he's trying to call himself the Dark Knight.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which could be quite funny. He's like, I'm the Dark Knight. It's like, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
Batman.
No.
Your arms fall off, boy.
You're really not.
Like, no, I'm not. But like he's one of the only ones who's got his arms out completely. He's like bare naked arms from the shoulders down. So like we're going to see Nathan Fillion's arms detach and do things independent of his body in this movie. Which is a very James Gunn kind of pick for a character.
That was a very James Gunn thing.
So James Gunn. Plus, like with a couple of other actors, recurring use of Nathan Fillion, like you said, being in his projects.
Such as Michael Rooker.
Yes!
Another James Gunn mainstay.
As Savant.
Playing Savant, yeah.
Looking gothic as fuck.
I think James Gunn just likes dressing Michael Rooker up in silly outfits.
He looks like Gary Oldman's Dracula when he's got the long white hair.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see him in it. I really am. Yay. I think
John
he'll make
Cena,
it through most of it.
Showing his guns as Peacemaker.
And a silencer about a foot long.
Yeah.
On that gun. Oh my God.
Love it.
Peacemaker, which they said, and I'm so glad they did in the featurette. He refers to him. He says, "James said you're going to basically play a douchey Captain America," and it's like, it's weird to think that Warner Brothers, because you know how weird the legal departments are. Yeah, sure, we don't mind you saying the name of a character from the rival company in the featurette, and then it comes at John Cena and he goes like, "Okay, got it." It's like, sure,
yeah,
it's Peacemaker. He's fighting for truth, justice, in the American way, and he doesn't care how many people he has to kill to get there.
Nope.
Brilliant. Brilliant. I think he won't survive, but he'll last longer than a lot more.
Yeah, it'll be fun, is what it'll be.
Because again, for those who don't know, the premise of the Suicide Squad is bad guys have bombs implanted in their necks and are made to do jobs on behalf of the government or the US military in secret, usually fighting against superpowers or heavily weaponized like military forces or like spies or whatever. Because the idea is, if they succeed, they get a bit off the sentence or a perk. If they don't, they'll die in battle. And if they try to escape, they'll get blown up by the bomb in their necks. So the reason why there's so many characters is because I guarantee, unlike the last Suicide Squad, at least a third of these guys are going to die.
Yes,
and that's part of the charm is they've cast so many big and interesting names, because you're like, well, I don't want any of them to get killed off. But also, I now don't have any idea who it could be, because it could be anyone.
Do you think they'll kill off the simultaneously adorable and creepy Weasel, played by brother of the director, Sean Gunn?
Once again, playing a furry character in a Sean Gunn comic book movie. And I'm not talking about Kraglin. Yeah, he will either survive ironically, or he will die in a hilariously over-the-top violent way because it's a CGI character.
I know nothing about a lot of these characters, but I did not expect Weasel to be a literal weasel.
A 6 foot tall weasel.
And going on to, and continuing with the theme of really, really weird, wacky characters, we've got David Dastmalchian as Polka Dot Man.
Oh, that makes me happy. A Batman villain whose polka dots on his suit turn into different weapons and gadgets.
Polka Dot Man.
Polka Dot Man.
In terms of visual stupidity, we've got Peter Capaldi as the Thinker.
I can't wait for that. He's the other one who I think is going to get killed off quite early, despite the fact I'd like him to be in it more. Because like the Flash on TV, like they made the Thinker the main villain of like season 4 or 5 or something. So it's like
something like that. I think,
DC have gone, we can do things with this character as a big threat, but the fact that it's Capaldi looking like the most recent iteration with like tubes coming out of his bald, slightly swollen head.
He's got a big, bald, swollen head with electrodes coming out of it.
And he's in just like a Hawaiian shirt and a loose jacket. And he's just like, yeah, like I think the Thinker's going to be integral to kicking the mission off in some way, because like it's a character all about telekinesis and all that, and then he's going to get bumped.
We got
but that ends the speculation, because we were speculating he was like Victor Freeze or something, weren't we?
No, he's the Thinker.
He's the Thinker.
Flula Borg as Javelin.
Oh, he seems like an absolute joy in the interviews. He seems like a right laugh.
I wonder what Javelin does.
I love the fact they've not shied away from the comic book colouring for characters like him and Peacemaker.
They've just gone for it.
Bright yellow and green. Bright red and blue, freaking polka dots all over his white suit. We're doing this. It's like, yes, these ridiculous supervillains. I don't believe they exist in the world that we've already seen, except for maybe in the same world as Shazam, but I am here for this. I'm here for it.
I apologise if I get this name wrong, but Mei Ling Ing as Mongal?
As Mongal! Like...
Weird.
They keep using Lex Luthor in Superman films, but we're getting Mongal in the Suicide Squad. Have we got more Superman-related supervillains in this than we've had in any other thing in live action?
Quite possibly.
So, Bloodsport, Mongal, there'll be others. Anyway, sorry.
Is King Shark a Superman villain?
More Justice League villain, I guess, really. Flash, primarily. He's one of the Flash rogues, primarily. Because King Shark's in it!
Steve Edgy is Adji as King Shark. He's got listed on IMDb.
Yeah, he physically portrays King Shark, but they are keeping stum on who's voicing him.
Well, the rumor is it's Taika Waititi.
Yes,
but
which
we shall
would
see.
be kind of brilliant.
Yeah.
If a little bit samey to Korg, but
Yeah.
let's see. We'll see.
And I think this is the last one. It's Daniela Melchior as Ratcatcher. Specifically,
Yeah.
Ratcatcher 2.
That was interesting because it's building up a mythology. It's like, wait,
Yeah.
so Ratcatcher, Batman villain, has Affleck fought the Ratcatcher before? And this is the next person to be
the next.
Like, of all the
Ratcatcher
legacy
2,
villains,
the sequel.
Of all the legacy villains, you wouldn't necessarily think Ratcatcher would be one. But at the same time, the power is you wear this stuff and you use chemicals to control rats and make them do your bidding. It's like, I guess a criminal could just pick that up and go, I'm going to do this now. How does it work?
All
right, there we go.
This gear.
But there's a brief shot in the trailer of a young girl being talked to by an older guy in a coat similar to the Ratcatcher. Like a big green, scraggy coat. So it could be a flashback to her being, maybe she's the daughter of the original Ratcatcher, or... Which in itself is an interesting idea.
Maybe, something like that.
Are we going to come out of this movie release with people going, oh my god, I love the Ratcatcher?
Oh, I hope so.
That would be
Can
amazing,
you
wouldn't
imagine?
it? I love Javelin.
imagine?
Javelin's my favourite DC character. Like, this could happen. And of course, Viola Davis returning as Amanda Waller, Jai Courtney returning as Captain Boomerang, Margot Robbie returning as Harley Quinn, and Joel Kinnaman returning as Commander Rick Flag, who this time looks like comic book Rick Flag. Bright yellow t-shirt, big ass gun, snazzy haircut, leading the charge.
Yes.
I'm all for this. I'm just the attitude of it. Like, I love the filmography of James Gunn, so I'm already sold.
It feels actually silly and fun from what we've seen so far, rather than the forced sort of wackiness that was such a problem with the David Ayer stuff.
Yeah. Not helped by the fact that we know the reshoots are a reason why it became wackier, because people saw the first trailer, went, that's a bit grim, saw the second one and went, oh, that seems much more fun. So then they were like, let's add more fun in the reshoots. And it was such a product of reaction instead of a vision.
Yes.
Which is why there's the whole thing of David Ayer going, I'd like to release a version based on the cut I was working on earlier on. # release the Ayer cut, guys. But it's like, look, I don't think we like the version we were seeing. The reason why the end one was crap wasn't because it was tinkered with. That's one reason why it was crap. Whereas this is James Gunn's gone, you want me to make a film for you? Sure. Here's my take on it. And they've gone, cool. Go for it. Make it, mate. Do what you want. Because at this time as well, Warner Brothers were trying to distance from Snyder. About 3 years ago, they were like, "Yep, no, we don't want to work with him on the direction of these films anymore." Patty Jenkins has proved that we really don't need to work with him on the direction of these. Like his direction is wrong for this. So, things have obviously changed. Money, money, money. But I'm intrigued by this. Bad guys being bad guys, some cheesy, some scary, a bunch of them are going to get killed off in the story. Great, cool, let's go. The rumour is, starting a few days before the event, that the antagonistic force, so the villain for these villains to go in and face off against, is Starro the Conqueror. So what they're being sent in to do is stop a presumably weaponized plague of an alien parasite from spreading.
If Taika Waititi is voicing King Shark, does that mean Jermaine Clement can voice Starro the Conqueror?
Go the other way. Go the other way. Go the other way. Give Jermaine Clement King Shark, and then Starro the Conqueror. This, for those who don't know, Starro the Conqueror is one and also many giant starfish-looking motherfucking aliens that are all basically tendrils and Big Eyeball. Who, but not to be confused with Shumagorath, the other company's Tendrils and Big Eyeball, who, through its spawn, basically, latches on little starfishes, facehugger style, to people's heads. And
it's a starfish that latches on your face and mind controls you.
So, Starro's like, he goes to planets, shits out a load of tiny Starros, eventually the population all become him, and he's like, great! bye,
Job
and
done.
goes to another planet to do the exact same thing. Not because it has intent of conquering the universe, just because that's what it does. And that sometimes it's a bit evil, sometimes it's just a creature. But based on what we're seeing, I could understand it being someone's got hold of this thing, they've discovered what it can do, and they're trying to use it for their own purposes. We're sending you lot in to kill everyone involved and get rid of this thing.
I believe Starro was the first
Justice League
villain that the Justice League fought.
Yeah, I have the comic cover on my wall. Yeah, the first ever Justice League of America, because it's Martian Manhunter, Flash, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Green Lantern. Punching a big old starfish right in its eye.
But no, this time we're gonna send Mongal and the Thinker and Javelin after it.
Well, like Mongal is related to Mongol and like the whole like space Colosseum stuff and like all that. So she's flat out an alien creature who is Superman levels of super strength. So she'll be either depowered or under heavy threat of the explosive in her head in this. Like, if you step out of line, this will kill you. You do what we say. But it would make sense to have one of your team members in this movie, like, unabashedly be a space alien if the threat you're going up against is somewhat where she could be like, I've seen this before. Like, I've seen what this does to worlds. That could be quite cool.
But it could also be funny if they don't do that.
Yeah. As long as the plot doesn't turn out to be, oh, one of us is the villain, because obviously, and also we have to get Amanda Waller out of an office, then I think I'll be fine with the plot.
There was a starfish. there was a starfish on TDK's butt the whole time.
Oh, wah, wah.
Oh, good God.
Yeah.
This should be fun.
I hope it's good. It looks good. We reached out to you guys on Twitter, just cast a line. I'll read a couple of these to say, what did you see? What was your highlight for Fandom? What did you like? What tickled your pickle?
We'll push emails to next week because we're running at 2 hours 40.
Yeah, it's a long
show as it is.
Hey, we had a pop culture event and we had thoughts. Yeah. This was fun.
Well, you had thoughts. I just said yes a lot.
You went, Chris, take your meds.
Yeah.
Dale Who, lovely Dale Who, friend of the show, says Wonder Woman 84 looks spectacular. Couldn't agree more. The Batman looks good. The little section of the Flash movie we saw was good, and the Batman, the animated series, Batman Beyond, receiving the 66 show sketch was beautiful. Other parts made me very, very angry. Based on some chat we had on Twitch the other day, I think we've talked about what made you angry because I feel pretty much the same about it, and it's all related to the mistreatment of a certain big blue Boy Scout. But let's
big blue bellend.
Let's hope that this version. Let's hope that the multiverse fandom event in September lets the Tyler Hoechlin Superman and other stuff shine. Apparently, the Superman, the Man of Tomorrow animated film is really good because it's just a nice simple Superman story about him being the best
remember
he can
when
be.
people told Superman stories?
I know, right? And Joe Cook says the highlight of DC Fandom had to be the Batman, with the Suicide Squad closely behind it. It seems anything with the at the beginning is bound to be a success.
Yeah, seems like it.
Loved, which is why I'm excited for the Wonder Woman 1984.
The Wonder Woman.
Loved the gritty feeling of the Batman, as well as hints of Michael Giacchino's Batman theme in the trailer music. Yeah, there was like hints of it in between the Nirvana track in there, which I thought was quite nice. I love that title treatment at the end where the letters just slipped into place. And you had that brief bit of the second A having bat ears just like settling in. It was like, ooh.
I like it.
I like it quite a lot. And the fact the font looks like the animated series box set fonts of recent releases, the blocky red writing and
brand synergy.
And if you want brand synergy in your life, look no further than Big Damn Channel on YouTube, where you can catch all our shit. You can catch us live streaming Matt every Monday and Friday, and me from time to time on twitch.tv/BigDamnStream. You can follow our shenanigans on Twitter at BigDamnCast if you aren't already. And if you're listening to this podcast on whichever platform, know that it is available to listen to on YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and all those other sites that just leech that shit, which I've never understood, but it adds to the analytics, so whatever.
RSS feeds.
Pretty much. we will talk to you next week if you want to leave us a long form thingamajig. BigDamnContact@gmail.com.
We're gonna do an email catch up at the start of next week. So yeah, as you say, BigDamnContact@gmail.com.
But we'll leave you on this note. There we are. That's a good one. Bye.
Can you match pitch?
I'm not perfect pitch, but I am. I am a perfect pitch.